4 season. Make no mistake about it. When you got the pads on, this is when the work truly starts, when you're preparing for an upcoming season. As we always do, though, we start the program off with big sales, and it was a big day. Appreciate everybody hanging in there, as you did yesterday, and choosing us because there's so many options out there. A lot of you wait to come on, and now more people are starting to roll back into the Big Sales Show, the National Football Show. We had some great conversations, at least text message-wise, with some of our friends over there at the NovaCare Center. Went on for the first day of pads for the Eagles. And like I said, this is really when the work starts, because this is when you really start your installments. This is when you start working on red zone. This is start working on 1st and 10. This is when you start working on 3rd and long. This is when it really starts to matter here as you prepare for the 2024 year. Hour 40 minutes. That's an eternity in today's NFL. That's an eternity. Compared to what those practices used to be, where they were only 45, 50 minutes, that's an eternity. Today's collective bargaining agreement doesn't really allow you to go crazy. And I think it's a 2-hour limit. So there's one thing that's noticeable. There's more reps, and there's more of an emphasis on conditioning and also on getting reps in. You're getting a ton of reps, especially the ones. Is what I'm understanding. The ones are getting a ton of reps. So you got to remember something. You got to put it all in perspective. My old Neanderthal ways, and back in the day when you did 3-hour, 2-a-day practices for both practices, those days are long gone, and they were unnecessary. You could pretty much get all the work you need in if you're effective and you're able to really isolate some of the things you want to work on each and every single day. And I think, again, today's way is a lot better. Now, again, you don't get to practice tackling. You really don't get a chance to do a lot of one-on-one like you did in the past. So developing offensive linemen, that's why they always take a little bit longer compared to the defensive linemen. Okay, so you're now going to start. By the way, I'm going to say something else here. They really are making an effort to just put 2023 in the rear view. I love it. This is really all positive stuff moving forward. As you're hearing some of the comments, and again, I must have been text messaging with people over there at practice today with about 5 people, 3 of them inside the Eagle organization. And I really got and took away some things. And again, listening to the players too. Remember something. No disrespect to reporters that are out there. I don't want to hear from you. No, sometimes it's necessary because you don't get the access. But a lot of it comes with slants. And it comes with opinions on what they saw and what they think they saw. I want to hear from the players. The players are going to tell you what's going on at practice. A reporter is not. They're going to tell you what's going on. Most of the worst thing, and I've said this, the worst thing that ever happened to a beat reporter or people who cover professional teams or even politics was the internet, because you can go right to the horse's mouth. What did you do today? I don't need a scribe to tell me, well, this is what they did. That's what you saw. So I listen to the player interviews and I make my own assessment, and you and I will make our own assessment. So I liked the hour and 40 minutes. Like I said, if you're looking at 2.5, 3-hour practices like it was back in the day, you've got to revamp your mentality here. These guys don't work hard enough. That's not the case. There's way more OTAs and minicamps in today's NFL than there ever was. The reason that you needed all that time in training camp was because most guys came into training camp fat. They didn't have all those crazy OTAs and mini camps and mandatory workouts or non-mandatory workouts. They didn't have all that. It's a 24 operation business now, the NFL. You've got to be in shape. You probably get a month off today in today's NFL. You don't get really a chance to get out of shape. So, yeah. DRC goes, don't switch side. Bro, you don't ever have to worry about me changing who I am. I've been doing this shit for 40 years almost. Ain't worrying about changing shit. By the way, you still got to go out and apply it. Okay, honey? This is talking about practice right now. I'll give you an Iverson line. So you don't have to worry about me changing how I approach things. Okay? But I like the hour and 40 minutes. So let's get to some of the takeaways. And I'm going to do a broad takeaway from today, some of the people that I've been texting going back and forth with. And then I'm going to give you actually the pads day. They're competing and working. They're competing and working, and there's competition going on out here. Quinyon Mitchell is getting an absolute lesson in how to play cornerback in the National Football League. Fantastic. When you can play against and practice against A.J. Brown, that's like a Harvard class that you're getting, or being taught by an astronaut how to be an astronaut. It's fantastic. You can't. I'd rather be coached by A.J. Brown than Vic Fangio any day. It seems like they got the bad taste and expectations of the lost Super Bowl out of their mouths and off their back. Absolutely. Muggsy, completely true. And it's a good thing. By the way, that's got to be a little bit on Nick. It's got to be a little bit on the organization. Okay? I think it's a great thing. They must have had conversations about this. So I'm very encouraged. Yeah, Quinyon Mitchell. Guys, look, I'm going to tell you until I see it. I would have taken Teron Arnold. However, and we're going to talk about him more so in depth here, Quinyon Mitchell. You're going against A.J. Brown. You're competing, and he's competing almost step for step with him. Great. There is nothing negative about this. Even if you get beat, A.J. Brown beats some of the best people on the planet in this league. And if you can win 60 or 50% of your day-to-day matchups in camp, you're so far ahead of the program. It's insane to even put a price tag on that, how important that is. Fantastic. A.J. Brown could go down. You know, they came out with the list of the Madden wide receivers. What was that list? And I completely disagree with the list. Tyreek Hill's not the best wide receiver in pro football. He's absolutely not the best. I would never. Here's that list. They got Tyreek Hill, Jefferson, Lamb, AJ fourth, Amon-Ra St. Brown fifth, Devontae Adams sixth, Jamar Chase seventh, Stephon Diggs eighth, Ayuk 9, Mike Evans 10. Here was mine: Jefferson 1, Adams 2, AJ 3, Chase 4, Evans 5, Hill 6, Lamb 7, and I'm going off their list. Amon-Ra St. Brown 8, Diggs 9, and Ayuk 10. I'm not putting Mike Evans out of the top 5 when you're going for your 11th straight 1,000-yard season. I am not taking him out of that and putting him 10th, or you're putting him down there. They had Mike Evans 10th. This guy's going for his 11th straight 1,000-yard season. That ain't happening. And A.J. Brown's a top 3 receiver. And I do not believe CeeDee Lamb is in his league. If you're going to build an offense, you're building it to A.J. Brown plays like Michael Irvin and Terrell Owens. I want that on my team. I'd rather have him any day over Tyreek Hill. Sills, but Tyreek Hill's fast. Yeah, well, that guy right there knocks people out. That's why I like him. Okay? Not happening. That's just not happening. Okay. Some more takeaways. So, Fred Johnson, according to Jeff Stoutland, had a pretty good day sitting in for Lane Johnson. Big sales, Calvin or Andre Johnson, who you got? Megatron. Even though I love Andre Johnson, you know he's a Kane. Calvin Johnson is just a freak show. Megatron will go down as one of the greatest freaks to ever play the position. Just true great. So he put Zach Bond on his back. They're competing. Good. This is what you want in camp. Competing. There's an energy in the building for the team. There is an energy in Eagle camp. They want to get back on the rails. Okay. Isaiah Rodgers got the first crack at cornerback too. You know why? Veteran. Understands the position a little more. And Mitchell Knight might not have the apple as red as Vic Fangio wants yet. Remember something about Quinyon Mitchell. And if you can think about this, and I'll use a Nick Sirianni type of analogy. Right now, you're looking at Cooper DeJean. You're looking at Quinyon Mitchell. They're like green apples on the tree. How fast are they going to get to being ripe for you to pick them off the tree? Don't pick them too soon. Let that apple get red. These guys still are maturing as ball players. First day of pads. Great. Great. It's very noticeable the Eagles want Quinyon Mitchell on the field. Or maybe to the point Vic does. And you know what he's doing, I'm being told? According to Clint Hurt? They're coaching him the same way Vic Fangio coached Patrick Surtain in Denver. They moved him around early too and had him play every position. Why is that important? Dude, the more you know about the defense and what the ideology and terminology and technique of the defense is trying to accomplish by playing multiple positions, practicing in multiple. He was asked if he was ever really in the slot in Toledo. He said never. They just told me before practice. That is teaching communication, and it's also teaching everyone else's responsibility. What is he doing here? He's teaching them knowledge of the secondary. Communication, technique is how Quinyon Mitchell's going to get on the field, not his ability. His ability's gotten him in the league. Now it's about, do you know where to line up, and do you know what you're looking at? I can't tell you guys how crazy smart these OCs are, or how crazy great these defensive coordinators are. They scheme, disguise, do everything to confuse players, especially young players that don't have the proper technique or knowledge or experience to play back there. Okay? And so what you love about it is he's also open to going and learning how to play all these other different positions. Dime, slot, nickel, corner, all of that. It's going to this is the same way that they developed Patrick Surtain in Denver. Fantastic. Fantastic. And this is a Vic Fangio way of teaching him so that he can see. Okay? So he can see it play out in front of him. You know, it's one thing to draw it up on a chalkboard. It's another thing to have the player go out there and apply it. You know, you take these mental reps, and you hear people talking all the time about mental reps. Okay, it's great. But you got to go out and apply that. Because sometimes when you're looking at a play and you're looking at it in your playbook, or you're looking at it on a chalkboard, or you're looking at it on an overview, you're watching it there on a tablet, whatever. You see it, but you don't know how to put the technique to work when you're out there on the field. Field work supersedes everything. Don't ever forget that. No matter how many mental reps you take, no matter how many things you are here or heard or you're told, physical field reps supersede everything. They supersede everything. Getting the field reps. Once you get the field reps, that's how you're going to start applying some of the things that Vic is teaching you. A lot of work on both sides of the football. I mean, they're working hard on both sides, first and second team, getting a lot of reps out there. And it's a good sign on seeing how the Eagles are taking this camp. And guarantee you, this comes to the new coordinators, in my opinion. The new coordinators are not taking anything for granted. Got a lot of installments to do, and they're taking full opportunities of it. I'm going to say something here that, again, this probably goes against some of the things that Xander battles when he's talking in the mornings on Birds 365 with John McMullen. There's a lot of movement. Remember what we said yesterday to you? I heard Xander say this. You know what they're saying out there? It's noticeable even to the beat reporters that are covering the Eagles. You could see that the pre-snap motion is giving and opening up plays to make the plays more affordable to have success. That's what pre-snap movement is. That's what motion is. It gives that play a better opportunity at spacing. Spacing gives you a better chance at what? Success. The more, get this, when you're running a route tree and you're running a play, the key to it is getting off the line of scrimmage, your release, and also spacing. That's why last year, how many times, guys, did you see last year in the Eagle pass routes? They were just blanketed. They were never mature routes a year ago. Okay? I mean, very new routes. That's right, Sam. Getting a clean release is invaluable. That's what A.J. Brown's going to teach Quinyon Mitchell. Keep your hips inside, move everybody to the sidelines. It's a technique that Darrelle Revis and all the greats, Deion Sanders, because you're using two different, you got another defender helping you. That's the sidelines. Big Sills, happy Football Tuesday, brother. Truth, justice, and the Big Sills way. Love it, brother. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Please hit the like button, guys. Ton of motion. Really a lot of people moving a lot on that offense. And once again, just a ton of reps. Now, I want to get over to today's work and today's comments. I got this from a friend of mine that's out there and one of your coaches. Yes, there were 6 touchdowns and no picks, but there were a lot of missed opportunities down there too, and a lot of those were in the red zone there. Okay? I'm not saying he had a bad day, not doing that at all. I'm just tempering it a little bit here. I thought the defense, according to what they're saying, had a great day. And what I mean by that was there was a lot more plays to be made, but the defense seemingly got to some of the plays today and were effective in stopping some of the play. There was more to be out there for the offense. So the defense, you may see 6 touchdowns. That's set up for that. But when you're running 39 plays and you have 6 touchdowns and half the plays you're stopping them or getting to the quarterback, that's a good thing. Okay? That's a good thing. So I think both sides of the ball actually had a pretty good day today. And most notably, the defense getting to the offense down in the red zone. I think the Eagles have to still work on their red zone, actually. Hurts holding the ball a little bit too long still, especially down in the red zone. That was some of the things that were said, is that he was holding on to the ball and defense got to him a little bit down there. You know, I mean, by the way, you know, he threw one right to Ringo and he dropped it. So, I mean, what's being reported and what's being coached is a little bit different. I'm not saying the offense had a bad, I'm not at all saying that. I'm just talking about the defense did a nice job today, and don't be skewed by some of the numbers that you see people posting that would give you an impression that something completely happened that didn't. There were more plays out there for the offense to make that didn't happen. Okay? Now, again, nobody's saying Jalen was poor out. He was not. But he threw one right to Ringo, right in the chest, and he dropped it. So I do think they still have to work red zone. Still have to work a little bit on the red zone. Hey, don't forget, Xander will join us at 3:30. Then we'll have Gary Cobb, who was out there at practice, by the way, as well. That'll be at 4:30, so he'll give you a bird's eye view too. Good stuff by the defense. They might surprise me. Flexing, me too. Me too. They're getting out to a nice start here. Okay? Flexing, me too. They might. There could be some. There could be some good things coming out of this here. I'm worried about the D-line depth. Absolutely. Hopefully, Ojoma, two are ready to step up. Boy, I'll tell you what. Go get Adama Kitsu. Get some experience in there. Dylan, those two dudes. That if you're going to be using those guys as rotation guys, man, I don't feel comfortable with them. No disrespect, but I don't feel comfortable with them. So what defensive rookies have been standing out so far? We're going to get to that. How about this one too, guys? You know why everything is so competitive out there? Let me give you guys a little insight about how camp goes. There's 53 seats on the planet or in your world. There's 53 chairs at NovaCare Center for active day rosters. 53. That's it. There's 53 seats in 32 cities. There's not very many of them. So if I put you on your back and you don't like it, fuck you. I'm trying to get one of them 53. It's one of the most competitive things you've ever been around or have ever been in. The tension is high. The stakes are high. Wealth is high. Futures are high. Don't ever miss that point. There are only 53 chairs in the world in 32 cities. Nobody takes anything for granted right now. 90 guys are in camp. 90. I get there's practice squads today and inactives, but you want to be on that active roster because that's where the active rosters are. So if you're competing out there, you're competing with people out there that are either trying to save their careers, expand their careers, further their careers, get paid. Everyone's got an agenda, especially when you're in training camp. Making that squad, there's nothing like it. I've never been in a room more competitive in my life than being in a training camp, watching men fight for a job. One of those jobs. There's nothing like it. Hands get thrown. Attitudes are everywhere. You're nervous. You're scared. You don't know what the coaches are thinking about you. 53 spots in 32 cities in the world. That's what you're fighting for. So when a guy like Fred Johnson puts a guy like Zach Bond on his back, that opens up the eyes of Jeff Stoutland, the organization. Not that that's a negative to Bond, but those two guys are competing. They're competing for roster spots. Two guys that you're looking at. Fred Johnson's a backup. Bond was a backup. These are guys fighting. They're fighting. Okay, good. Fantastic. Once again, I thought really the defensive football team, I think they're doing a great job out there too, especially in padded drills. A lot of plays on both sides of the football, as I said. One more time, Hurts holding on to the ball a little bit. You want to make sure you're working on that still because that was an issue a year ago. 39 reps for Jalen Hurts with the first team. Fantastic. I guarantee you last year was like 14 or 18. Kellen Moore wants to get things installed. More work a little bit in the red zone. Great. Really a good day for it's been a good camp. It's absolutely been a good camp. Now I'm going to get into some of the comments by two players that came to the microphone today. By the way, please hit the like button here. Grant Calcaterra. I'm impressed with him. He's had a heck of an offseason. Better blocking, better pass protector, and they're doing a little bit more with two tight end set because he's developing. You know what they're saying on defense? He's setting the edge for the offense. Doing a great job on the ends of the Eagles, which means he's going to get playing time. They may be running more two tight end sets than what they've run in the past because Grant Calcaterra is getting better. He's getting better. What round was that kid taken in? Okay, what round was he getting taken in? I forget what round he went. Was he a 5th rounder or something like that? 4th rounder? Well, he's getting better. Okay, he's getting better. Pass catching ability too. His hands are getting better. He's being 7th round still. Wow, that's a great find because he's an NFL tight end. He's not a front line guy where you're going to throw 70 targets at, but he's essential in what you want to do with two-back set, especially in red zone too, where you can go two tight end set down there. And get this, not only that, 31-7, 7th rounder, he's cheap. Guys like that, I told you this, half the rosters in the league are made up of guys taken in the latter rounds and undrafted free agents. Not everybody can make $70 million. Not everybody can. Good. This is what else he said. Kellen, it's a progression style. You know what that means? When he says it's a progression style offense, Kellen Moore has a progression style offense. What does that signal to you when he says that? When somebody says that Kellen Moore has a progression offense, what does that tell you? Distribution? That's probably to the point. Okay, that's probably to the point, Dexter. Couple more. What do you think? Progression. Check down, Sills, says Kyle. I thought Kellen does a lot of 11, but maybe I'm wrong. I think they're going to be a little bit different, Dylan, because of the quarterback skill set. Quick passes, smart decisions, timing. You know what I say? When I hear a guy like Grant Calcaterra saying Kellen Moore has a progression style offense, you know what that means? Everybody's an option. That means everybody should expect the ball to come to them instead of just two guys. Okay? Instead of just two guys, that means everyone's an option. When you run a progression offense, everyone is an option. Hurts has to read defenses. Totally true. But I'm going to tell you, Marshall, one of the things that they're helping him in with those readings of defenses and progression reading is alignment in motion. They're moving him and moving the players to make the play a lot more easier for Hurts. Kellen Moore is developing Jalen Hurts as a progression reader by motion. See, John McMullen has it wrong. He's talking about the play. He says this, how does that help Jalen? Well, Jalen recognizes the open guy more when he sees it. And he understands why Kellen's moving the motion. That's developing a quarterback's vision on how that play is going to be open or not. It's just common sense. If I can move a safety across the weak side and I've got strong side over here, and I've got 5-on-4, how the fuck does that not help my play? You got a mismatch in personnel before he even snapped the fucking ball. How is that not help the play? Again, you've got to make the play, but how does that not start the play with a win percentage that you want? Giving your quarterback an opportunity at a win to make that play. Common sense. Common sense. Stills, you're the man. We rock with you and Xander. My question, why did Peterson win a Super Bowl, but Reed with 5 NFC title games? No excuses for Reed. 34. One of the reasons that Andy Reid was not able to deliver you a Super Bowl, he did not have, in my opinion, the massive belief in McNabb. McNabb did not have the massive leadership skills that it took to take a team across the finish line. Andy was not as patient, and his time management was not very good in Philly. 2 minutes to the half, 2 minutes to the end of the game. His timeouts were atrocious. Mahomes has given him the affordability of patience because Mahomes could get down 21. If McNabb got down 21 in Philly, McNabb was losing that game. If Mahomes gets down 21 in Kansas City, he's winning that game. It's a different mindset. He's more of a leader. He's a better teammate. The whole thing. McNabb was just not a very good teammate. Not a good team. Or he was a teammate. You know what he was? He was a better Carson Wentz. He picked and chose which guys he wanted to be teammates with, and the rest of them, fuck off. By the way, that's how everyone looked at him. That's how everyone looked at him. And Andy was still green as a play caller. He's way better now. Now Mahomes makes him way better. But he's also developing Mahomes. Okay? I mean, yeah, Donovan McNabb was just a better Carson Wentz. Or a better Dak. So, I mean, yeah. He says the coaches really like what we're doing, and they're really liking what I'm doing. He said this, though, that was interesting. And this kind of supports Jalen Hurts. There was a lot of change at first. And I'm assuming he means terminology. So even for Grant Calcaterra, he was saying there was a lot of change. So when the organization came out to try to cover that, they absolutely were covering for the coach. When Hurts said there was 95% change to the offense, Grant Calcaterra is basically coming out today in the press conference telling you exactly that. There was a lot of change at first. A lot of change. Well, so you get this. Instead of having beat writers tell you and the organization tell you, you got two players telling you. Grant Calcaterra and Jalen Hurts. Who are you going to believe? Right? That's what I tell you. Listen to the players talk. They're going to tell you. Diego, how you doing, brother? Okay? Just remember that. You're putting too much blame on McNabb, Sills. At the end of the day, football is a team sport. Football may be a team sport, but the quarterback, if Dak Prescott gets his face kicked in for his inability to win a Super Bowl or get to a championship game, same with McNabb. He eats that same eggplant too. Okay? He eats that eggplant too. He's not subject to not having that also. Okay? So, yeah. I like it. He said this, there is a ton. Let me ask you this. And by the way, John McMullen does such a spectacular job for our channel. And if I ever come off where somebody thinks that I'm picking on him, please let me know, because I'm not. I absolutely admire John and what he does in his work and how hard he works for us and how hard he works getting great content out. So if it comes off ever like that, please just let me know, because I don't want that ever to be something that lands somewhere that someone doesn't know my true feelings. He's a teammate of mine here. But I will say this. Why in the hell would you run a ton of motion? Grant Calcaterra says, we have a ton of motion. Why would you run it if you didn't think it was doing something for your offense and helping your quarterback? You think you're doing it just for shits and giggles? Nothing you do in an offense, defensively or offensively, nothing you do is without a meaning. Whether it's disguise coverage, whether it's a decoy, whatever. There's nothing that is in a play that's just put into a play for bullshit. Everything matters because you got to explain that to players. Why are we doing this? Because good players ask you, why are we doing this? What's the effect of it? Because they want to know why I'm doing something. Will Jalen do better with read option over RPO? With the motion right now, Jameson, this is what they're doing. They're taking the RPO away with Barkley, and the read option is going to be a pseudo RPO. Less hits on the QB. Okay? Less hits on the QB. By the way, I want to say this about another guy and a coach that I heard today. This is going to be just a random comment. Michael Clay sounds like an NFL head coach. That's the first time I heard him talk. I thought I was listening to John Harbaugh. I was exceptionally impressed by him. I mean, I would interview him. He sounded like John Harbaugh. That could be one of your best coaches on your coaching staff. Hard to believe, first year, when he got the job to where he is now, he sounds like an NFL head coach. Seals, you've been in the locker rooms and played the legit. 34, thank you, my friend. I mean, Michael Clay sounds like an NFL head coach. Okay? Twiz, Sills never said Sean Desai sounded like a head coach. Ever. I wasn't the one saying that. Tony Romo said it. You got me confused. Tony Romo said that both coordinators last year, when he was calling games for the Eagles, basically said that the Eagles had two candidates for being coaches in the National Football League. You got the wrong guy. I said it was a good hire because of the people he worked with, Vic Fangio and also Pete Carroll. That's what I said. Those were your mentors. And by the way, Sean Desai had a great year until you fucked him over. He was 10-2 when you fired him. He had beaten some of the top coaches in the National Football League. So whatever you want to say about him, he had a great year. It was Patricia that screwed it up. And Nick. I could give you a list of great quarterbacks that Sean Desai, including Patrick Mahomes, the reigning Super Bowl MVP, that he out-schemed. He out-schemed Andy Reid. So Sean Desai out-schemed Andy Reid. Put that one in your hat. Quinyon Mitchell took to the podium. As I said, AJ and Q going back and forth. I mean, when you get a chance to play against greatness, and you get a chance and you're a young player, and you get beat, it's one thing to get beat by some guy like Queasy Watkins. Okay? It's another thing to get beat by A.J. Brown. A.J. comes up to you and says, you gave me free release. Can't do it, kid. If you're going to give me free release, make sure it's on your outside shoulder. Or your inside shoulder, excuse me, because that's where the traffic is. Inside releases. Why do you always want to have inside release? You don't want a guy running up the sideline on your outside shoulder because he's got the game on you. You're done. How many times do you see guys get the outside shoulder, run down the sidelines, and catch a 48-yard touchdown pass? You rarely see those guys streaking across the middle unless it's a blown coverage. All the traffic is back inside. You want to force everything to pursuit. if you're playing defense. Was it the size fault? We couldn't cover or tackle. For shit, we can get a how you doing. Can we get a how you doing? Chipped, absolutely. That's right. Was it the size fault? You couldn't tackle or cover. And then Patricia started putting your asses in press coverage, and you don't have press coverage corners a year ago. It was absolutely a shit show. I blame Nick and Howie for that 100%. Maybe even the owner too, who did that bullshit. So let me get here. He was asked by a reporter. He played corner, nickel, dime, and slot today. He's never played really slot. He was asked that question. He goes, no, I didn't play that in Toledo. He goes, what'd you make of it? Well, they want him on the field. Sinbad, thank you. Spinbad, thank you. They want him on the field. Okay? They want him on the field. But, here, watch this. You line up at corner. You got A.J. Brown on you. You line up at slot safety. You see the entire field in front of you. And you're watching corner play. You're watching middle zone play. You're watching banjo. You're watching underneath. You're watching zone coverage. You're watching all of it. You got a center field view of the entire defense sitting there in the slot. Teaches you run fits. Teaches you releases off the line of scrimmage with tight ends, block and release. Vic Fangio's given this kid a crash course. And that's going to apply with him out on the numbers. That's how you coach people. That's how you develop them. That's how you give them a crash course and get them up to speed quick, too. To me, when I hear that Quinyon Mitchell is being put in all these positions, it's only a matter of time between Bradbury being released or not. Unless there's an injury. The more they put him in all these positions like this, the quicker he'll be cut. Okay? I mean, they're moving him around and trying to create depth to put him on the football field. He's first option right now. Might be first option. He's first option as the number one guy to go in case something goes down. He might be the number one option by the time the season starts September 6th. Okay? Vic's giving him he's teaching him the same way they taught Patrick Surtain in Denver. It's great. Great. Mitchell was asked the question about AJ. He goes, he doesn't really say anything, while we're out there practicing, but after he'll come to me and he'll come up and say, hey, you know that jam? Don't jam me don't jam me like that and stop your feet. Clint's saying this. Kid's got great feet. I said, well, if you don't have great feet, you can't play in the league. You could do a lot of things with a lot of great players when you have great feet. And he's got great feet. He doesn't stop them. The moment you stop your feet, you're beat. Whether it's a D lineman, corner, linebacker, you're beat. The more you keep your feet moving, the more you have a chance of winning that play. Can't do it. In 2 years, this defense will be a shutdown defense. Let them all grow together. They're building something special in Philadelphia, absolutely. Teams better get ready. Here we come. Spinbat, I'll say this to you, too. You're probably going to have an opportunity to keep Vic Fangio in the building because he's a 70-year-old guy. He's not going to get a lot of other opportunities. He probably doesn't want a lot of other opportunities. So you might actually have an offensive line coach that'll stay there like a Supreme Court justice nominee or appointee, and you might have Vic in the same position like Jim Johnson. That's what you're looking for, continuity. You're looking to evolve, but you're also looking for continuity in your coaching staff. It's one thing that the Eagles have been poor at, has been continuity in their coaching staff. Once you start building something like that, that's why Nick is he's an anomaly. He's a poor play calling head coach that still has a job. And Nick is doing everything in his power right now to save his job. because he's got to show them. By the way, I don't think it has anything to do with wins. I think he has to show them that he can handle the role of being this so-called administrative type delegator of power to his assistant coaches. It's not anything. It's not called CEO. It's called delegating. It's a delegating head coach. This is your job. This is your job. And he's allowing his guys to be a head coach. Okay? Hey, guys, please do me a favor. We're trying to get to 200 likes today. Okay? Please, we're trying to get there. All right, guys? Appreciate it. By the way, everybody over on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and all of our platforms, please hit the like button. We so appreciate you guys. Okay? Guys, you don't hear me really say a lot of things in a positive way about the way they do business. There's an emphasis on doing the right things right now in Philly. I'm encouraged. Some more. I like the way they're moving him around. I just do, Quinyon Mitchell. I like the way they're moving him around. They're competing. Quinyon Mitchell. And again, I'm a Teron Arnold guy. But all the things he's saying, what players are saying about him, how he's staying step for step with AJ, his ability, there's no question. Right now, the only reason that he's not in the number one CB2 is because of experience. And that's why Isaiah Rodgers is opening up as the opening act there at CB2. Because again, remember what I told you yesterday. What was one of the things that I told you? Vic Fangio is going to play experience because those guys know what to do. He's giving a crash course to Quinyon Mitchell. Okay? He's giving a crash course to him. He's teaching him. And he's trying to expedite giving him the ability to be able to see. That's why he's getting a ton of reps. Don't say fuck Slay. Slay's important in this process. If you want to, hey, see Flex and say fuck Slay? No way. Slay is an important part of the development of Quinyon Mitchell. You cannot develop Quinyon Mitchell without Darius Slay and A.J. Brown. Those two guys in his ear, one guy telling you how to defend and the other guy showing you how to defend one of the top three receivers in the league. That's the greatest education you can ever get. Vic Fangio can't tell him anything more than what A.J. Brown and Darius Slay can tell him. Nothing. Okay? Nothing. Hey, Seals, Michael Parsons like Quinyon Mitchell. Doesn't shock me. Quinyon Mitchell's got a great story. Small town outside of Gainesville. Loyal. Talented. Good. Bama wanted him. Not a shocker. Okay? Mitchell looks up to Slay. He said, hey, by the way, I don't think it was hyperbole. He was asked the question, what guy did you look at when you were in college? He said, Darius Slay. You got to remember something about Slay being an Eagle. And let's be candid here about it. Darius Slay has been a sensational Eagle. Every year he's been in the Pro Bowl. What more do you want from the fucking guy? I mean, he's been a Pro Bowler. Every year since you made that deal, you could put that in one of Howie Roseman's top 5 acquisitions, pro acquisitions in his time as an Eagle general manager. That's how good that move was. He's been a Pro Bowler. I mean, what more do you want from him? This is why it is huge. It's a huge deal that DeJohn being, oh God, him being out. There's nothing like field reps. Always remember that. There is nothing like field reps. Every single time. And when you hear a reporter say he's only out 3 weeks, 3 weeks in today's NFL with camps breaking the way they do is an eternity. Are you really trying to tell me looking what they're doing with Quinyon Mitchell, playing him at slot, nickel, dime, and corner. You're trying to tell me that you're just going to slug Cooper DeJean in September 6th and think he's going to be an impact player? Why in the world are you moving Quinyon Mitchell around so much? You're teaching him what to see in the secondary and what techniques are needed when you're at certain places on the field. And you know what you're also teaching him? Pursuit angles, tackle angles. It's a different tackling angle being a free and strong safety compared to being a corner on left side or right side. It's a completely different shoulder. Playing right guard and left guard are by far more difficult than you think. Think about this. How many people you can know how to use both hands? When you play right guard, you know why Micaiah Becton is more comfortable on the left side? He's not good at putting his left hand down. When you're on the right side, you got to put your left hand down. When you're over on the left side, you put your right hand down. Same thing with defensive tackles. Right tackle, right hand down. Left tackle, left hand down. All of the footwork is different. You just don't slug guys in. Because if that was the case, Vic Fangio would be right. I could take a corner, drop him in at safety, and he'd pick it up. How come some of the greatest athletes on the planet that have played corner can't make that transition? Why? It's a different skill set. It's a completely different skill set. Why is everything being based off last season when we had two DCs running different philosophies? Hey, Jarrell, I think they've moved from that. And by the way, you're only as good as the last season you played, and you're only as good as the last game you're in. I think actually last year might be the most beneficial thing that could happen to the 2024 Philadelphia Eagles. That was a shit show, and they don't want to repeat it. Kudos. You know how many organizations continue to do the same shit year in and year out, like the Jets, Arizona, Carolina? It's like they get hit in the face every year by the same right-hand punch, and they never duck. Eagles are ducking. They don't want to get hit like that again. Great. Sometimes that is one of the more difficult things to do, is put failure behind you. Jordan used to call it putting logs on the fire, fuel. And that's what used to get him and motivate him. People say, I'm only scoring champion. I can't win titles. I used to fuel his ass. Like the Cowboys. DeJean will eventually take Blankenship's starting job. Possibly. He's basically the exact same size, but more athletic. Sam, here's my only concern. Can you stay healthy? You know, availability sometimes supersede ability. I take a guy, like I said yesterday, that could play me 17 games versus Nakobe Dean any day. By the way, Nakobe Dean talks a lot of shit. Okay? I want to see him play. Had some type of arm tackle today. Dude, the guy getting the most reps is Zach Bond. Vic Fangio ain't playing that kid. You may see him in dime coverage, but you're not going to see Nakobe Dean in the starting lineup. There's no way. Reps are like gold nuggets right now. Let me help you guys out on first, second, and third team. And also where you are in the depth chart. There's no real depth chart right now. Please hit the like button, guys. The guys who get the most reps is the depth chart. The guys who are starting and the coaches are looking at, the more tape you have, that's the depth chart. Okay? That's who they like. That's who they want to watch. So wouldn't you say the Niners was with Mean B and more talent? Would we be fair? Would it be a fair statement? The Niners have the most talent right now in the NFC. Swanky. They have the most talent. Okay? But get this. You think Kansas City's got the most talent compared to San Francisco and Philly? And they've beaten both those teams in back-to-back years. Yeah, I do. Flexen, you're not as talented. You do not have Pro Bowlers at every level like San Francisco does on defense. So stop saying that. Your linebacking core, nobody would want. Your secondary is filled with youngsters. The 49ers have Pro Bowls at every level. Every level. D-line, linebackers, and secondary. You don't have anybody in Hufanga's league. You don't have anybody in Warner's league. Shit, you don't have anybody in Greenlaw's league. No, he's hurt. And you clearly don't have anybody in Nick Bosa's league. Not remotely close. They have Pro Bowlers at every level, going from the back end of the defense to the offensive line, to the quarterback, to the running back, and receivers, and tight end. It's a litany of Pro Bowlers on both sides of the ball. Twisco, San Francisco choked. Well, so did you then. Then so did you. I think the 49ers don't win the Super Bowl this year. Shanahan will get fired. I think eventually, man, that you can't keep calling him the greatest play call in the NFL and not win. So, I mean, that'd be a tough putt for Jed York and them guys and John Lynch to fire him. But boy, you got to come through, man. You got to win. You're gauged on one thing, and that's fucking winning the Super Bowl. Birds are not better coached. Kyle Shanahan is a play-calling NFL head coach that's a better play caller than Kellen Moore is. Plain and simple. Kellen Moore can't even get out of the first round. This is a big year for him. By the way, this is a big year for Kellen Moore. There's no excuses for him either. So, okay, it was Dak you want to blame. Okay. What will be the excuse if he doesn't get to an NFC championship game and they get bounced in the opening round of the playoffs? Then there is no excuses for Kellen Moore. His NFL coaching career, when it comes to being an NFL head coach, is on the line this year. You know, you can use the lame-ass excuse it was Dak. Okay, fair enough. Can't use it now in Philly. Can't use it now. Either you get to the NFC title, at least get out of the first round. He's never been out of the first round. It's Dak's fault. Okay. That excuse goes away now. Hey, you want to use that? You better get out of the first round this year, Kellen. Or it's a youth thing too. It's a youth thing. 49ers will break up soon. Agreed. Too many players have to be paid. Absolutely. Plus, nobody does the contract structuring that Philly does. That goes to your owner. That's one of the coolest things that the owner does. Pay up front instead of back end, knowing full well that the cap ends up. Now, they've got $300 million in cap money coming due, but they'll restructure it because that's what that guy does. Senor makes a great comparison. Kyle Shanahan is Andy Reid 2.0 in Philly. You're right. Maybe he has to go somewhere else. Because Brock Purdy, in my opinion, this is what's going to happen in San Francisco with Brock Purdy. They're going to pay him $58 million. Okay? Then they're going to lose Ayuk, Debo, maybe Kittle. And then you know what you're going to have? Jimmy Garoppolo 2.0. Or Derek Carr. Because I think he's good with talent around him. I don't think he can carry a football team. Again, I don't think the guy in Philly can carry a football team with lesser talent. Every time you take someone off the huddle and out of the huddle. Now, I think he can more than Purdy, because last year, if you remember right, Lane got hurt and they won. Trent got hurt and they were a train wreck. Then Debo went out and it was a shit show. So I think Jalen is a little bit better than him. But I think Purdy is fool's gold. I think when you got everything perfect around him, the play caller and everything, I think those 4 years starting at Iowa State benefited him more than anything you can imagine. But being able to carry a team, I'm not sold. I'm not sold. Just not sold. Now, he's doing great things. 2 NFC title games, got to a Super Bowl, got to a fifth quarter in a Super Bowl. He actually took his team further in the Super Bowl than Jalen did. They went to overtime. But the Niners are going to have to make a decision. Is that guy really Joe Montana? Is he really Joe Montana? Or can Kyle Shanahan think that he could take another drop back guy and turn him into Jimmy Garoppolo, Brock Purdy? We'll see. How do you feel about our corner situation, Sills? Promising. Isaiah Rodgers and Keely Ringo and Quinyon Mitchell, those are your guys for that cornerback 2 spot. My preference would be Mitchell. You drafted him 20th, right? Was it 20? 22. You drafted him 22. Okay? I want him. Once Purdy gets paid, he's a liability. Admit it. I just did. Sills, do you see the Eagles in the Super Bowl in 24? Not until I see the defense play, Marcus. On July 30th? No. No, I do not. I want to see him cover people. I want to see him play defense. Am I less worried about the O? Yeah. But you got to have 3 ports. I'm not. You know what's really also going to be an issue, an interesting thing? These new kickoff rules. It's going to put an emphasis on special teams. Keep an eye on that. Now they're starting to adjust some of the rules that they first implemented with the competition committee. Now they're trying to change them up a little bit before the start of the season. I don't think they really know what they want to do when it comes to the kickoff. You got to get some consistency and you got to stick to it. So they're changing it on the fly. They don't like this. Now they're changing a little bit of the dynamics. Not a fan of that. How do you feel about Hassan Reddick situation? Did Howie handle it well? No. However, because, hey, DeJean, I would rather have had Reddick on the team and have him play it out. And if Reddick wanted $4 million more, Reddick and Huff on the other side, both sides, I'd feel more comfortable with Nolan. I'd feel more comfortable with Reddick and Huff than I would with Huff and Nolan Smith. If those are going to be my outside rushers and Will and Sam, then I feel more comfortable having Reddick. Reddick's the better player. Okay, he's the better player. If we're a top 10 offense and a top 20 defense, you think we're past the divisional round? I think if you're top 15 defense. Is that cool? If you're top 10, listen, top 10 offense is a failure. Brian Johnson was 8th last year. You got to be better than top 10. You got to be top 3. Okay? The money you're paying, top 10 ain't cutting it. Top 10 ain't cutting it. Sills, a team that is loaded on both sides gets points for going to overtime. But a team that scores 35 points doesn't. Dude, that football team went to the fourth quarter, and if the new rules weren't changed, the Niners win the Super Bowl. Are you trying to tell me a football team taking a team to overtime, having to lead in overtime, is better than a team scoring 35 points on somebody? It took 5 quarters for the Chiefs to beat them. It took more time to beat them. The Chiefs had to go extra time to beat them. You're telling me, because you score points in a situation that's greater than taking a team to extra time? I don't agree with that. You had to play a full extra quarter almost to beat them. Almost an entire another 15 minutes to beat that team. Sorry, dude. No. It's like going to overtime in a fight. Well, it's even. Both guys have 10 points. Really played well, but we still got to go to overtime. Okay. Chills, that Super Bowl changed when Greenlaw got hurt. Kyle, two things happened in the NFC side this past offseason. Detroit's inability to be able to coach that football team when they had the lead against San Francisco. And obviously, when Greenlaw got hurt, it did change the dynamic because even 15 was pointing it out. Greenlaw got hurt. And that's when they started running the RPOs. Seals, that's a dumb take. Still lost the damn game no matter what quarter it is. No shit, dude. One game was longer than the other game. That's all I said. Whatever. I'm not making excuses for an L. You're the ones that make excuses for an L. Jalen played great in the loss. Who fucking cares? I'm just telling you the Niners took the game longer and played longer, and the Chiefs had to do more to beat them. Common sense. Not an excuse, reality. That's what happened. That's what happened. One team took a team longer to beat than the other team. Nobody's making an excuse. That's the reality of what happened. Does not an excuse. I'm just repeating history. Okay? At the end of the day, who does fucking care? Sills loves stats. No. The only stat I like, how many Lombardis do you have in your window at your NovaCare Center or over there in Santa Clara with the 49ers or in Valley Ranch with the Cowboys? It's the only thing that matters. Okay, guy. Okay. You can say if Jalen Hurts fumbled the ball, we would have won. I don't care about that. I don't care. Does the Super Bowl hangover hit the 49ers this season? And wear them out like it did the Eagles last year? Maybe. Busy goes, just prolong the ass whooping. There was no ass whooping in the Super Bowl. There was no ass whooping. You must have watched a different game. 2024 is here. We have Saquon Barkley, got a lot of good young talent. Yes. Paid both Smitty and AJ. Jalen is healthy. Let's do this. Forrest, I think that's the takeaway so far in the first week. Absolutely. Some really great stuff here, man. Again, like I said, those 6 touchdowns were a little bit of a mirror today. Okay? Guys, please hit the like button. We really appreciate it. You're killing it today. Thank you. Okay? Prince goes, you're so biased. Bro, I don't root for a team. I don't root for anybody. I root for greatness. I don't have a favorite NFL team. I never have. And people go like this, why do you have the Bucks? They drafted me. Everything you see behind me outside of my daughter's hat right here, I played for the Canes and I played for the Bucks. And I was drafted in Tampa. You don't see any other memorabilia up there for any other team other than things that I did. I don't know what you're talking about. And this was given to me by one of the greatest 34 defensive end in the history of the sport, Leroy Selman. And I wore 93 because he wore 93 in college. Okay? Sills was wearing a Bucks hat after that 32-9 smackdown. I was. Go get him, Bucks. Not even a Jerome Brown jersey? No, I just got this. Still got this back here. Still got this. Hey, Roland, I know, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Hey, he was. Shit was funny. Hey, Xander goes. I think Xander even pointed that out. You wearing a bug hat? Ah, yeah, I guess I think I did. Hey, you know what? Just because I'm a professional agitator, okay? So I'm a professional agitator. I get it. Okay? Sills wouldn't wear that Bugs hat in Philadelphia, that's for sure. You're under some impression that I fear people. I don't. The 40, oh my God, look at Prince trying to legislate why his Super Bowl performance was better than the Niners' Super Bowl performance, and they're both L's. I just pointed out a fact that one team went to an extra quarter, and this guy's all butthurt. Don't worry about it, Prince. Take a couple plays off, kid. You'll be all right. We played better in our Super Bowl versus the Niners. Who fucking cares? I just said one team played longer. This guy's crying about it. But we played better, and my guy was better than Mahomes. That's why Mahomes got the ring. He's going for a third straight. Whatever. Okay, Prince. He's so biased. No, I'm not biased. I'm a realist. They won 2 straight. Oh, you're showing how dumb I am because my guys played better than the Niners did. Okay. Keep legislating 2 fucking L's. The Niners and the Eagles telling me which guy was better in their loss. How stupid. Who fucking cares? Way to go, Prince. You want to know what dumb is? Keep bringing those topics up. Hey, do you think we played better than the Niners played in our loss versus their loss? What do you think? Hey, you can't say that just because they played a 5th quarter. Holy shit. Dude, honestly, give it a rest. Give it a rest, kid. You might want to take that play off. Hey, can you believe it? We played better in our loss than the Niners did. You're like, who fucking cares? Oh, that's why I didn't make it. Okay. Now it's about me. Somehow it turned from his stupidity and his idiotic argument about who played better in their L in the Super Bowl to the Chiefs to me not making it. Woo, man. Hey, you sound like people that are in politics right now, moving off the topic and moving off the subject. Way to go, kid. Keep it going, Prince. I can't comprehend. No, I can't comprehend you defending an L. Who beat the Chiefs in 23? Who fucking cares about that, too? Hey, you know what's great, Twiz? You beat the Chiefs in 23 and lose to the Jets, or you lose to the Giants. Okay? If you had followed it up with a NFC title appearance, at least, instead of getting mowed over by a lawnmower known as the Bucks in the wild card game, it might have mattered. It might have mattered. They beat your boy Allen, too. Yeah, and you lose to Drew Lock. Good night. Good night. Good night. Oh, man. Gotta love it, man. You gotta love it. Hey, once again, though, great day today. First day of practice. No mistake about it. They beat Dak, Mahomes, Allen, and Tua. And they got rolled by the Bucks and Baker Mayfield. So the last 3, am I right? The last 3 quarterbacks you lost to were Drew Lock, Kyler Murray, the pizza guy in New York, and Mayfield. Solid. Solid. You beat the Bucks, and the Bucks beat the shit out of you in a game that mattered. Woo! Jerome would have gone down as one of the greatest of all time, especially playing with Reggie, who wasn't killed in the crash. No question. No question about it. Better than Sapp, in my opinion. How you doing, Ken? All good. Only time Sil's really cooking is when he reheats his pizza in the microwave. I don't eat microwave pizza, dickhead. Well, who do you think I am, a white guy? Italians don't eat reheated box microwave pizza. What are you, an asshole? Who in the world eats microwave pizza? That's like telling me like the Olive Garden is really an Italian restaurant. Okay? Hey, Sills, I went to the best Italian restaurant on the planet. Where? I went to Olive Garden. Olive Garden's not an Italian restaurant, guy. Cold pizzas for champions, microwave pizzas for losers. Right. Dude, you get a pizza from a great place that is a great Italian pizza place, and then you eat it cold the next day, all good. You take box microwave pizza from Papa Giorgio's, or whatever the guy's name is, Papa John's, or one of them other stupid places, and you heat that up in a microwave, you're a freaking loser. Nobody in their right mind from Philly would eat microwave pizza unless you're an idiot that buys it at Wawa. Microwave pizza. Hey, Niner all day. Hey, get this. Go up to, hey, go, look at Niner all day. Hey, Niner all day. You go up to North Beach and you bring that up with microwave pizza, you'll get run the hell out of North Beach, and you know better than that. You know better than that. All the Italian joints up there? Papa Giorgio's. Yeah, hey, I ate Papa Giorgio's, man. That microwave pizza was dope. He said, get out of my house. I'll throw you out. Get out. Do you have any microwave pizza? No. No, I don't. Hey, Sills, do you have microwave meatballs? No, I don't. You either make them homemade or we don't cook and microwave meatballs here. What do you think? This is an Irish? What do you think? This is an Irish pub here? Only the Irish guys eat microwave pizzas and meatballs. Oh, man. Only thing C24 has ever said that's right. Get this man some help. You're damn right, dude. Reheating that. Reheat in the oven, fat boy. Hey, flexing. Don't worry about it, kid. Take a playoff. You and Prince go sit over there and tell us what guy had a better game in their L versus the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. And you two guys can just battle it out. Hey, man, Jalen, if he doesn't fumble, we win that game. You know what? Sileo's crazy. Hey, our L is better than the 49ers L. Are you crazy? Our guy played better in the L. Okay. That's what they're debating. Twiz and Prince are debating who had the better L in the Super Bowl versus the Chiefs. I bet that's a healthy combo. It can only happen here. Only here on the National Football Show can you get shit like that. It's gold, Twiz. Twiz, you and Prince today are gold. You're just too stupid to comprehend. Yeah, I am too stupid to comprehend that. Absolutely. I'm not debating who had a better L. Read these are Dr. Seuss words. Bro, sheesh. Yeah, okay. Hey, can someone please get me a UN translator for Prince? I'm not sure what the fuck he's saying between the L loss to the Chiefs and now that post. Just a couple more to help me out. See, I'm in a good mood because you should be in a good mood about your Eagles. You should. You should. Imagine comparing losses. Better L's. L's, period. Nothing to say. Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Right? You're dumb. You couldn't even read that. Because I probably didn't want to. Sill started it with the 5-quarter take. Are you calling me an agitator? 5 quarters, the 5-quarter take bugs you that much because I said the Niners played longer in a Super Bowl than you did. and took the Chiefs to another quarter. That bugged you. And you got butthurt over that. I bet spilt milk and burnt toast bugs you too. Is that right? If we had any experience on the back, I would talk about trading Slay and freeing up some cap space. Now you need that guy back there, brother. Sills, guys like Prince like comparing which pile of shit is worse. Look at this pile of shit versus this pile of shit. This one here has less seeds in it than this one. So this guy's probably doesn't stink as much because this guy ate more corn. Probably so. Hey, I do have one thing. I'm going to take a timeout before. Hey, listen, no communist references to Xander Krause. We can't have that on a day like this. We're going to get Xander's takeaways too because he's been out there talking to John McMullen. And those guys have been kind of texting back and forth, and John was out there as his eagle eyes. So we'll be able to get a little bit of his perspective as well. Aren't stats from L's games too? Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I played great in an L. Hey, what's your best game? You know, when I lost 47-20, you should have seen how well I played. It was great. I was unbelievable. I had 10 catches and 114 yards receiving. I sound like A.J. Brown. Hey, or I sound like Darius Slay. Hey, I was great. Wait a minute. Your defense was 31st in the NFL in pass defense. Yeah, but I played great. Oh, okay. Sills, watch out. Sirianni's right behind you. Nah. I think Sirianni's Sirianni's had a good week. He's actually had a pretty good time in front of the microphone for the first time. Okay, so as I heard Jalen Carter was good today. Yeah, Clint Hurts said that he just wants, his energy. The key is not going, listen, the key for those two dudes is going to be, are you going to play like that in week 17 or week 18? That's going to be the key for them too. All right, I'm going to take a timeout. Where are we in the likes right now? Let's hear where we are in the likes. Guys, I want to get to 200 likes. Got a ton. We're at 130 right now. We got 70 to 200. Guys, hour and a half left of the program to get 70. Fantastic stuff. And I appreciate everybody coming aboard. Don't forget Gary Cobb, who was out there also at Eagle Camp, will be with us at 4:30. So hit the like button. Xander Krause right around the corner. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Win and save this baseball season from Colony Pools and Power Washing, a local company serving Delaware, Delco, and Chester County since 1970. Are you tired of looking at your greenhouse? Is your roof, siding, deck stained green from algae and mold? Let the experts pressure wash your home and take the pressure off of you. Win with Colony Pools and Power Washing. Call them now at 302-762-2250. That's 302-762-2250.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show. Please hit the like button. And our friend Xander Krause is going to join us here in a couple minutes. Okay. So we appreciate that. And also, too, don't forget Gary Cobb will join us. That'll be at 4:30. Aaron Rodgers is acting like a leader now at Jets camp. He's a little bit aggravated with the sloppy practicing that's going on there with the Jets. Hey, just in a nick of time in your 20th year for you to look like a leader and speak up. Dude, where were you 15 years ago when the only guy you cared about was you? You didn't throw to your younger players. You didn't develop any of the younger guys. You didn't give a shit about anybody on the team but you. Now in your 20th year, you're going to act like something that you're not? You go to a pothole somewhere in Europe and pretend that you're sitting there in a smokeout or you're around somewhere at one of these like mushroom smoking conventions. And then you want to turn around and come back and you want to pretend that you're some sort of fucking leader? Give me a break, guy. You're not really that guy. Nobody ever would believe that you're a leader. Go play your football. You're a great player. You're a first ballot Hall of Famer. All of that. But there comes off with the transparency once again of certain guys never being who they really are. And no one buying into who you are. You know, there's some people that walk into a room and they exude the confidence. Brady is that guy too. Tom Brady said one of the things to him that made it so important for him to play 20 plus years, for him to be the best teammate he could possibly be. And he said he worked at that from day one. It was the most essential thing. I think Patrick Mahomes does that too. And I actually think Jalen Hurts has made an emphasis of that this offseason. Lane Johnson has also said that. He's also said, hey, more barbecues, more get-togethers, more conversations. Hurts is being more of a vocal guy. He's working at it. He's working at not being as less accessible as he was a year ago. I wonder how that's going over with the organization that was pretty much at fault for that. Bob Lane keeping their $51 million guy at arm's length for certain people. You know, you really can't develop a leader if you baby him. And that's what the Eagles did last year. They gave him his boy as a coordinator. They didn't let anybody around him, and they isolated him. That's why when people were looking at him saying some of the comments, Jesus, man, he's got to have a better demeanor. I think Jalen Hurts had something to do with that this offseason. I think there was no question about it that he's worked at it. You know, there's one thing, John Clark from NBC, I believe, in Philly, is saying that Sirianni's having a tougher practice. That's not a Sirianni call. That's an analytics call, which means it comes from upstairs, which means the coordinators have an influence in this. The coordinators have a lot more installment. You're hearing guys saying it. And Fangio demands it. which is great. Jalen Hurts had 39 reps today. In years past, the last 2 years, maybe 18 would have been the rep number for 9-on-7 or 7-on-7. So again, good. Pads Day. And I'm going to get Xander's takes on this here. By the way, don't forget these guys are working overtime. Xander Krause and John McMullen, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they're going to be doing a game right after, or a show right after us, and giving us the bird's eye view of John being out there watching first day in pads. And from what I understand, too, talking to Clint Hurt, you know, the reporters don't get an opportunity to watch the entire field. They got to stay in isolated areas. So you don't really get the chance to see one-on-one some of the stuff. So that's kind of why I kind of like, I'm lucky I have some friends out there that give me a little bit of intel. So between John and what we're doing, I think we're giving you probably the best coverage that we possibly can here for you. Don't forget to check out a lot more of the videos there at JAKIB Sports. Our friend Xander Krause joins us now from Birds 365. And there's no doubt, Xander, I mean, they're working hard, brother.
They're working hard, good, as they should be. It's good to hear. It seems like a lot of good things are coming out of camp this year. Optimistic for the year, but my favorite thing going on in camp is definitely the Quinyon Mitchell stuff, as we've talked about on several occasions. But so far, so good, Big Cells, coming out of Eagles camp.
Hour 40 minutes, and I heard you say this. You know, hey, you know, it's not going to be like old school. But today in today's NFL, Xander.
That's pretty good.
An hour and 40 minutes. Remember something, the last 2 years, practices, I looked it up, were between 45 and 55 minutes. So they're putting more work in with more reps because of the new coordinators. You would have thought they would have done the same shit last year, bud. There seemingly is more of an emphasis, especially on conditioning. So they're working harder in this camp and they're doing more reps.
Yeah, I agree. And I made a stupid comment too, talking about it. People were ripping me. They're like, you're sitting at a fucking desk in air conditioning and you're crying about an hour, 40 minutes. And all right, it was a dumb comment. I understand. It was a dumb comment. But no, you're right. It is pretty good, honestly, an hour, 40 minutes out there in the heat, you know, with the full pads on. I think it's good. And, you know, I think they need it, though. You know, I think they all understand that, too. They're coming off of, obviously, a huge collapse. And it wasn't pretty. And I think they all understand the moment, and they seem to be locked in, and they're willing to go the extra distance. I mean, you say it's not Sirianni. It might be a little bit of him. I mean,
a little bit.
I mean, listen, like John has said before, I don't think there's any coach in the NFL who wants to practice less. I think they understand why you do it when you're trying to keep guys healthy, but I think they're willing to practice more. And I think I think you're right. The organization has given them the leeway to practice more, but I think Sirianni likes it. But overall, so far, so good, man. I think it's been a lot of positive coming out of camp so far. Definitely making me very optimistic for the year. Obviously, you're looking at a very talented team. And if you can get some of these younger guys on defense to step up, you know, you have a chance to be a really good football team this year. And a key word is a chance. You have a chance to be a great football team. Doesn't mean you're going to be, but they have a chance to be a great football team. And that's really all we can ask for at this point.
I think coaches are smarter today. Because back in the day, they always thought more was more. Now less is more. And I think that when you're putting a priority on certain situations, 9-on-7, 7-on-7, 1-on-1, team drills, or you want to do scrimmaging, or you want to do, I think there's more of an emphasis on getting to the point instead of just doing drills to do drills. You know, when you're out there for 3 hours, 3 days for a month and a half, and you're doing those, you eventually, Xander, run out of shit to do.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just doing shit to do it.
Yeah.
And I always thought, in my opinion, that was just it was just overkill. And now I think they're smarter today. Let me get to Quinyon Mitchell here a little bit as an overview. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about what he said. I said this to you, and when there's 53 chairs in 32 cities, you're going to have the most competitive people on the planet fighting for one of those 53 seats. So when you're hearing people are competitive, it's a great thing, because you know why? There's no place in the world that has these type of seats. You're going to have guys that are fighting tooth and nail to get one of those chairs. I've been in them rooms, and some of the most heated conversations, some of the most incredible competition. You could, dude, you could have a competition on who's going to get to one chair before you do, because everything is so competitive. Who gets to the ice cream machine first? Who gets to the Coke machine? Every single thing you're doing in those facilities at NovaCare right now, people are high energy competitive right now. Everything you're doing. So it is really an intense place to be. And when you hear Quinyon Mitchell doing this, Xander, he's going against A.J. Brown. Bro, I can't tell you, that's like going to Harvard or Penn. Getting an education by one of the greatest teachers on the planet to teach you being a brain surgeon is sitting there and going against and being around people that are the best at their profession. There's no way he's not benefiting from lining up against A.J. Brown, and it's really a crash course. It's really lucky that they have two guys like that on both ends.
Yeah, and you said that, Sills, to your point, that was one of the first comments you made when we drafted Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, was these guys are going to be ahead of the curve come week one, simply because they're playing against two of the best wide receivers in the NFL in practice every day. And when you hear Quinyon Mitchell lining up with A.J. Brown, I mean, how quick is that going to help him develop? He doesn't even have to wait for the games to start to go up against a premier receiver like that. And I'm sure A.J. Brown is giving it to him. They're trash talking. You're hearing they're jabbing back and forth. They're Quinyon's forcing them out of bounds. So it's really good stuff. But overall, it really seems like Quinyon Mitchell is coming along really quickly. I mean, John McMullen said he's been comfortable at every position they put him in: slot, outside, right side, left side. Doesn't matter where they put him. It'll be interesting to see, where they end up with him when the season comes. I thought you made a tough comment yesterday, but a true comment that Cooper DeJean going down, helped Quinyon Mitchell. It's a tough realization. I know, but that's part of the game. That's part of
But it's opportunity.
It's opportunity, right? And it's fallen in Quinyon's lap, and he's capitalized on it to the fullest extent. And boy, I feel good about the guy we picked in round one. And I said this on the show earlier. Whenever a guy's taken, and there's another guy at the same position taken right after him, they're basically compared for their whole entire career. You go back to the Jalen Reagor pick, and just anybody
Roethlisberger, Rivers,
right,
and Eli.
Yeah, I mean, look at all the quarterbacks that are picked, right, that are constantly compared, not just back that far, but even in recent years where Josh Allen and Mitch Trubisky are taken in the same draft, and even the Mahomes draft where he was taken 10th or 11th overall. So everybody gets compared. I feel like we got one here. Terran, I hope he has a great career, but I feel like we got our guy in Quinyon Mitchell, and I'm happy with the pick. Now we'll see how it pans out. We're just a couple days into training camp here. Doesn't mean he's going to be a great player, but so far, he's doing all the right things, saying all the right things, and, it appears that he's playing like he should be playing here in camp. So very positive start for Quinyon Mitchell here in camp.
This is what I've learned about what they're doing with him. So the Eagles are basically coaching him the same way Vic coached Patrick Surtain in Denver. They're putting him at every single position, nickel, dime, slot, and corner too.
Right.
So what they're doing is, you see what they're doing, Xander? They're letting him see the middle of the field from the slot. He sees it from the half hash at the corner. When he's in dime, he sees it when it's third and you've got dime personnel out there. So he's seeing the four wide receiver set. What he's doing right now is giving him a crash course on how to see. And get this, he's teaching him communication up and down the line on what the free and strong is going to say to him to recognize what they're trying to do in the slot, what they're doing at the wire, what they're trying to do at the Z. So they're giving him a bird's eye view. This is exactly how they taught Surtain. So what it does, and when you have players, so get this, you got Vic teaching him like that. You got Devontae and AJ having that come at him like that. I know they had Isaiah Rodgers out there in CB2, but I think their objective is to get him up to speed. And the more they get him up to speed, I just think it's a matter of time that James Bradbury will be whacked off this team.
Yeah, I do too. It's interesting to see, why. It's almost like, why have they gone this route?
It's a security blanket.
Yeah, it's true. And, I like Isaiah Rodgers. We'll see what he turns out to be. It really, I know, but, the interesting thing is Vic is moving all these dudes around all over the place constantly. Like even John, I'm like, so are you getting any even inkling, like who's going to be the starting linebackers, who's the starting corners? He's like, I mean, yeah, but Vic is moving everybody everywhere right now, with the exception of your main guys. Like Jalen Carter's obviously where he is. Some of those guys, but linebackers are rotating all over the place. Corners, all of them have gotten reps at every position, basically. So it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing back there. But it's very positive, development so far here in camp.
And Prince is dead right here. Last year, Dak was throwing a ton of interceptions in camp, and he only threw 7 all year. So, again, that's what Xander was saying about temper yourselves. Take it easy here. Let's keep things in perspective here. So, I'll tell you what they're doing, too. Moving a lot of people around. I mean, they're just moving everybody as they can possibly move around on that offense and on defense. It's a different looking approach, Xander, on both sides of the football, and it's encouraging when you're hearing that.
Should they keep Bradbury?
Great question. I'd keep him for the first month.
That's where I'm at. I'm almost getting to a point where he's been here now. He's been here this long. He's been out on the field for practice. Despite how good we all feel about Quinion and Cooper and Keeley and Isaiah, why not? I mean, he's already
keep him to the bye.
Right. Keep him at least for a couple of weeks. See what you got. You know what I mean? And if you're not looking to compete this year, all right, it's a different story. But if they want to make a run in the Super Bowl, I think you got to keep these guys on the roster and see at least what you have. And, trying to win in 2024 is a different goal and a different team than trying to build a team that works for the next couple of years. Those are two different objectives. So if they're not building for the Super Bowl this year, all right, move off of them. What the hell? You don't need them here at all. But if they're trying to compete this year, I think it's worth it to keep a guy like that on the roster, especially Slay too. We talked about Slay, and I was one of the guys who brought it up on the shows, thanks to our girl Marie DeBooth in the chat who brought it up to me back in the summer. Should we trade Slay? And should we think about getting these young guys on the field? And I entertained it in the summer, but the more I, think about it and the more we've developed here in camp, if you want to win in 2024, you got to keep some vets on your roster, even if they're not what they once were. They have a role in this team, a role to help you win, a role to help these young guys, a role, to win football games in the here and in the now. And I think
if you buy into that role, it could keep you on the roster for another year, and it can extend your NFL career because teams like that.
If not here, too, another spot, if not here, another place.
That's
I
right.
think Slay will probably hang him up after this year. Maybe not, but Bradbury, I think, is looking to continue his career a little bit for sure.
Guys, please hit the like button. We appreciate you doing that here.
So killing it on the like button. We're at 158, brother. 158. Thank you guys for the likes, man. You guys are the best.
Absolutely. Hey, Prince, by the way, I love you too, honey. It's all good, sweetheart. I love Prince, man. He and I go back and forth. Here's something that I heard. Here is Pads Day. Now, Hurts had 6 touchdowns and no picks. However, majority of those were down in the red zone. But I also heard this, that there was a lot of plays out there that they missed. And there were a lot of opportunities out there that they weren't able to get the ball into the end zone where, again, you had 39 reps down there and you were doing all this. And at the end of the day, the defense did do well. It's set up for offense. So 6 TDs and no picks, that sounds great. Keely Ringo, he threw it right to his chest and he dropped it. Yeah. Not saying that and by the way, I am not saying he played bad. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm saying that the defense did a little bit better than what's being reported.
Yeah, they're starting to take a little bit of strides forward. You also heard that from yesterday too, where the defense, John said that yesterday was the first day he thought the defense won the day. Which was interesting. I didn't get that update from him until this morning because I didn't have a chance to talk to him after practice yesterday. But, the defense is playing good. I mean, look, it's passing camp, and it's good to hear that the offense is doing good. I also don't care that, there's a ball that went through Keely Ringo's hands. I'm not expecting Jalen Hurts to throw the ball perfect every single day, every single rep, every single down. I mean, at the end of the day, if that's what he's doing, then he's not working on things that are going to improve his game in the season. So this is the time, right, to try and fit it in those tight windows, to try and, push plays and do things that are outside your comfort zone because you learn more, you can get better. And that's the time to do it. So I don't have a problem with, a couple plays not being what it is or not getting in the end zone enough or, an interception, Keely Ringo, like Prince pointed out. I think it was Prince who like last year, Dak Prescott, tons of interceptions and then none during the season. Yeah, he was probably trying a lot of stuff in practice, and that probably helped him in the year. So I think there should be a delicate balance of those two things where you're trying to optimize your offense, but you're also looking to push the needle forward to where you can get better, you can improve, and you can try things you might not try in a game.
This is what I don't like what Hurts did today. Bro, when you're down in the red zone and you're there inside the 5 or you're inside the 10, you can't hold the ball. It's got to get out, man.
Yeah.
You don't have time to sit
Yeah,
back
but here's
there
the
in
other
the
thing
pocket.
that hurts, right? Like here, and I agree with that. And I agree with that for sure. But the other thing that you do get with Hurts, and you love to say the word dual threat. Where are my people in the chat? Give me the dual threat emojis. But that's the one thing you get that's an advantage. Where in practice, you're never going to be able to quantify that because when they blow the play dead, the play is dead. But sometimes, and you've seen it many times in Jalen Hurts' Eagles career, when the play breaks down, especially in the red zone,
they may not be asking. They may.
Well, they're not letting him. Yeah, they blow the play dead. Exactly. But in a real life scenario, Jalen Hurts, that's sometimes the things where it's like, it's great to have a dual threat quarterback. He sneaks outside the pocket, the play breaks down, and boom, he gets you 6 or 7 yards closer to the end zone. Or, I go back to the one game, I forget what game that was, his first year starting, and he sticks his leg in the ground. I think it was the New Orleans Saints game. And he just jukes the guy out of his socks and gets into the end zone. So that's where I think you can't quantify that in practice because they blow the plays dead. But having that extra ability of the quarterback, if he can bring up the rest of his game as well, that becomes really lethal in crunch time when the games are being played. And you can't quantify that in practice right now because they don't allow for it to develop. So, sometimes the practice stats are misleading, especially when you have a quarterback like Jalen Hurts. If you're like Joe Burrow or a guy who's a statue in the pocket a little bit more, you got to get that ball out because it's going to be a sack in real life. So it's a little different for Jalen Hurts, but I do hear what you're saying. For the sake of practice and what we just talked about, practicing things that you're not great at, pushing things that make you go outside your comfort zone, he's got to get that ball out. And I think he's done a pretty good job at it so far. But it's a good question, and I'll definitely bring it up with John tonight on our nighttime edition of Birds 365, how Hurts looks and reading it quickly and getting that ball out, especially in the red zone. They did a lot of red zone work today.
And again, I want to make sure that, and by the way, you make sure you put an emphasis to John in his ear if it's landing wrong, that I'm saying something about that motion stuff, because everyone's noticing it now. And you're seeing a lot of that. So as we go into some of the comments that are being made by Grant Calcaterra and also by Quinyon Mitchell, because I'm going to get to those here in a second, I want people to understand that it's a development tool that they're helping Jalen Hurts with. Now, let me get to Grant here. He's had a great offseason, as I said yesterday. Also said when he was asked a question today, he was one of the guys at the podium. He said that they're telling him that he's a better blocker and he's also been a better pass catcher. Here's a 7th rounder that now is going to be a point where you're hearing 2 tight end set. He was asked the question, are you seeing a lot of more 2 tight end set? Can you imagine having a 2 tight end set down there on the goal line where you've got 2 tight ends, you've got Brown and you've got Devontae and Barkley, and you've got Hurts attacking the red zone. When you've got that set up with that offensive line, bro, I'm telling you, I'm not sure how you defend that.
You don't. I don't think
the only way you defend it is with a gun, because there's no way you're stopping that thing, man. I mean, there's just too many areas of the football team, and they're too versatile. So this he's also bringing something to the table. That's player development too, dude. That's really good by him because he's a 7th rounder.
Yeah, and I think the reason he was a 7th rounder is some of the injury history. I'm not sure if you're aware of some of that.
I wasn't.
He retired from football.
Okay.
Because of concussions. And then he came back to the game and was drafted late in the 7th round. Now, he was a player at Oklahoma with Jalen Hurts. He was a very good player in college, a very good pass.
That's where I heard that name.
Yeah, so that's the worry with him, is that if he takes one more head hit, you're in danger zone with him. And he knows that, obviously, a guy that nearly walked away from the game for good. And that's part of what dropped his draft stock down to the 7th round. And I thought it was a good pick by the Eagles at the time because he was a really good player in college, like a lot better than the 7th rounder. Yeah, he was a really good player.
He's like a 3rd rounder.
Yeah. But we'll see. I think he's going to be an impact in the passing game. But boy, you just laid it out. I mean, holy shit! How do you block? How do you guard that? I mean, and you had Dave Wanstead on who talked a little bit about that. That's where I think Saquon Barkley is going to be the most effective for this team is when you have situations like that and it's like, okay, I'm going to choose to take away AJ, or I'm going to blanket the receivers, or I'm going to, do a dime coverage and take away the passing game. You still got to account for Jalen Hurts' legs, and you still got to account for Saquon Barkley. And now you're going to add in 2 tight ends. Like this is tough stuff for the defense to cover. If you're not, a fully stacked defense, I don't know what you can do other than hope, other than pray that they don't, execute the play properly. So if this team can figure it out and get in rhythm, they're going to be a tough team to stop on offense. They really are.
I asked our viewers here this question. I'm going to ask you this. When Kellen Moore, and this is Calcaterra talking, Grant Calcaterra talking, he was asked a question about Kellen's offense. He says, it's clearly a progression style offense. You know what that means, right? That means everybody's an option.
Yeah.
That's not just this. You're 2 dudes over here, and maybe your tight end are going to be the targets. What they're doing this year compared to a year ago, that quarterback now has to do pass protection, and he has to do this. Everybody is open. He can't have a pre-snap destination where he's throwing like a year ago. We saw that especially in the Seattle game.
Yeah.
When you saw him throw into double coverage versus AJ and Devontae was wide open underneath, why didn't you go to the easier throw? What he's doing now is that everyone's an option, which means this. Everybody's going to be giving you decoy routes. They're going to be running. Jalen has got to spot this. That's why that motion is important, Xander.
Yeah.
When you run the motion and you're running all that and you got progression reading, he's going to know, well, that just moved the safety over. Well, that means the middle of the field with the tight end or maybe even a dump-off pass to the running back is going to be my second and third option. Let's go to the first option. He's going to be going to AJ. If he's covered, dude, you go to tight end or back. I mean, that's the thing that he's going to be doing that's going to be completely different than a year ago.
Yeah, and that's where I think Kellen Moore is just going to – that's why I think he's going to be a great coordinator for this team. I know there's some pushback on him, and this is what I've been most excited about is Kellen Moore's ability to do that, to add that dimension to the offense. And, when you think about some of the talent they have and how they're able to set this thing up, I mean, Kellen's added some of those dimensions that, like you just said, I mean, last year was so predictable, even with all the talent on the field. And he's moving guys around. I mean, Bob, where's our buddy Bob Brown? Just brought it up in the chat. Let me find it. Red zone, situational football. You can add in a guy like a 6'7" Johnny Wilson. I mean, I don't need him to be a big impact player, but just catch the ball in the red zone here and there. I mean, the situation.
Go get it.
Yeah, the play calling, the situational football, as Bob points out, that we can do, and I think that Kellen's creative enough to get us into. It's really a scary thought. So if they can figure this thing out and make it work and, remain cohesive as a unit and, the leadership is intact and, nobody's crying about their touches, it's going to be a nasty offense, Big Sills. It really is.
I'm going to throw this at you as well for Kellen. This is a big year for him.
Yeah, huge.
Because if you want to use the excuse that Dak Prescott is a loser, he can't win, and move on a football team to the divisional round, or a second round of a playoff, okay, and it's on him. That's one thing. Okay, Kellen was his coordinator for a couple of them years down there in Dallas. But if you want to blame Dak, that's fine. Well, if he doesn't get out of the opening round of a playoff with all that talent, he has no more excuses, Xander. He has no excuses.
Remember, this is 3 teams in 3 years.
Yeah, he's got to show, okay. Because to me, I'll tell you what, I have my doubts on this. Todd Monken had a great year last year. They were 14-3. They won home field advantage in Baltimore, and your quarterback was the AFC he was the NFL most valuable player. Fantastic. Home field advantage, all that. You got to the playoffs, you shit the bed against Kansas City. Hey, Todd, what are you doing throwing that guy 37 passes? That's not how he's going to beat Mahomes. He's a dual threat guy. You can't have him trying to get back into a passing match. You're going to get into a pitch and catch game with Patrick Mahomes. You're going to lose that game.
I know, it's true.
Okay.
Yeah, it's true. No doubt about it. I mean, we'll see what they end up doing. I think Kellen's got to be aware of that too. with the quarterback that he has. It's a different look for him, obviously, as you've pointed out many times. So I think I think he'll be up for the challenge, though. Like you said, 3 teams in 3 years, and you got one of the best offenses in the NFL right now, Kellen. Pressure's on him as well.
Absolutely. You go from Justin Herbert to Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
And you're not doing anything with that? That's a you thing, pal.
I know.
Here's something that Grant said that kind of corroborates a little bit what Jalen was saying. He said this when asked the question. Yeah, there was a lot of change at first. So when I got to the offense, it was a little bit confusing, but we've kind of picked it up now, and we're understanding a little bit more of the terminology. So it must have been a real struggle in them OTAs and minicamp for what they were trying to really tell them what a play was, how it looked, because now they look a lot smoother. He looks more in control. So to corroborate a little bit on Jalen Hurts, that shows you right there. Even Grant said, hey, man, that offense was way different when we first implemented it in OTAs and minicamp. So Jalen was right. It is a lot different, but they're adapting to it, which is great.
Quickly. I mean, they're adapting quickly. I mean, this is a big jump from what you heard at OTAs. I mean, OTAs were not pretty. I mean, looking back on them, we didn't want to make too much of it because it was spring football, but you heard all negative reports on the offense. This training camp, it's been all offense all the time, and they've been playing good. Jalen's been playing good. And there's also, I like hearing there's a lot of underneath stuff too, because I think that shows that Jalen's going to be, at least he's being taught. Don't be afraid to take what the defense gives you, and that's good. Jalen needs to add that to his game. That will help him. You don't always need the big play. You don't always need to go all the way downfield. You don't always need to target A.J. Brown. You don't always need to do these great things and win the game. We had the same issue with Carson Wentz. Remember? I mean, he wanted to play hero ball, and Jalen's a different style of it. But sometimes I'd love to see him take what's given to him a little bit, and I think Kellen Moore is bringing that into the offense, and it's going to help him a lot.
Here's the thing here, a ton of movement and motion. He goes, we are moving, and remember something too. You don't put motion into your offensive play calling and into your play designs just to fucking put them in there. Everything has a meaning, whether it's a decoy, it is you're trying to move safeties around or corners or slot guys, you're a nickel. There is no question the reason that they're doing this to help Hurts be a progression reader. When you move any kind of how about dual motion? When you move dual motion, they're hoping to run they're hoping to run a corner and a safety into one another. Remember what happened in the Super Bowl when Andy Reid or when Jim Schwartz was sitting there? I mean, remember what Andy Reid did to the Eagles secondary? Who was it, Slayer? Was it Bradbury or somebody ran into one another?
And then I think it was it CJ Gardner-Johnson on the other side?
Remember they were running those crossing routes and they were running into one another. That's fucking motion, dude.
I know, bro. I know. I said that to John. I'm like, and by the way, Andy used it in the Super Bowl last year versus the 49ers, the same exact play, and it worked again in the Super Bowl on the biggest stage. So there's no doubt about it. The motion thing is big. I think it was a little bit of a misunderstanding with John there. I think he understands that motion is a positive thing. I think he was more put off by me saying it could help Jalen read the defense, which maybe he's right. Maybe it doesn't. I mean, I don't know.
I think it does 100%.
I do too, but like I said, I'll agree to disagree.
Okay, yeah, agree to disagree.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. If he doesn't think it will help Jalen at all, I think it opens things up. I think it can give Jalen a chance at least to see more of what's going on the field by implementing things that you're in control of. But anyway, like I said, agree to disagree.
Yeah. No. It's not an attack in any way. But remember something: the quarterback, when he shows you with emotion how you move a safety, you're telling me that doesn't help him understand what coverages they're trying to throw at you on the pre-snap before the ball is snapped.
Yeah.
That helps you understand why you're calling that play. Okay, let's move on.
No, you're right, though. You are right for sure.
Here's Quinyon Mitchell. By the way, before I get to him, Xander, I had never heard Michael Clay talk.
Yeah, he's good.
Dude, he sounded like John Harbaugh.
He's good, right?
Yeah,
he's good. I like Michael Clay.
Pretty impressed with him.
Yeah, I am too. I've always been impressed with him. That's why I was so upset like that one year when our special team sucked after
first year, 2021.
No, I think it was 22, right? The Super Bowl year.
Was it?
No. It was 21.
It was 21.
It
was 21.
What year did people want him fired? It was 20, wasn't it?
No, Super Bowl year, he had a good year.
No, yeah, but the special teams nearly cost us in the game.
Oh,
Because
that's right. The punt. Maybe
yeah,
it
the
was
punt
22.
yeah, I forget which year it was, but there was a time when a lot of people
Yeah.
wanted Michael Clay gone. He's a smart guy. I mean, he knows how to answer the questions. You could definitely tell that he's a smart dude. I think he has a future in the league. He's smart though. We'll see. This kickoff thing's kind of weird, right? Sills, what do you
They're
make of it?
changing now? Now what they're doing? They're putting a new quirk in the kickoff or punt return, and I'm like, this comes back down to the competition committee, and I don't get it. And I'm like, man, you know
I don't
what?
love that
Leave
they
well
took
enough
away the
alone.
onsiders. I don't like that they took away the onside kicks for the fourth quarter.
You know what you're going to get then? You're going to get more contact. You know the things that they're trying to get away from? With these new rules, you're going to get more contact in these special teams plays now. You're trying to get away from contact, and the one thing you're creating is more contact.
I know. That's true.
I mean, I just get this. I mean, Devin Hester, in my opinion, if he played in today's NFL with these new rules, this guy'd have 25 touchdowns.
Oh my God, Devin Hester! I'd love to have a guy like that. He was one of my favorite players of all time when I was a young
Brian
kid.
Mitchell too.
Most because of Madden. I used to play. I'm not a video game guy now at all, but I used to play Madden when I was a kid. I'm sure you did it, Big Sills. That's after your time. But I used to just freaking put Devin Hester back there and do kickoffs all damn day and just return it with Devin Hester. What a player he was! He would thrive in this new kickoff setup. He's probably still licking his chops right now as he's going to watch it unfold this year.
Quinyon Mitchell got in front of the mic.
Yeah,
first time I really got a good sense of what he's about, and he was talking about AJ and how these guys are going back and forth, and they're talking shit to one another, and I think that creates a really great dynamic. And also, what it does is, you know, I think you have to have an attitude out there at corner. I think you have to have an ego. I think the cornerbacks in the NFL have to have the same ego that wide receivers have to play a situation like that, because you're on an island, dude. You're running backwards. Xander, I've said this before. The hardest position to play physically in the NFL is corner. You're running backwards against elite speedsters and some of the greatest athletes on the planet. And when you got a guy out there that's going step for step with A.J. Brown, that's good stuff in what you're hearing.
You know what else you need if you're playing corner? You need a short effing memory.
Yep.
You know, I was a goalie when I played hockey, and I was, you know, I spent a lot of time as a goaltender, and that used to be the number one thing my pop would tell me. You let in a goal, you got to forget about that goal before the puck drops at the center of the ice. And it's the same thing with cornerbacks, man. You get beat, you gotta forget about it and get back and get ready to play. So you're right. I mean, it's one of the positions that's probably the most mentally tasking in the NFL. Like you said, I'm backpedaling versus the greatest athletes on the planet. It's not an easy job. You know, it's probably the hardest position to play in the entire NFL. That's why no white dudes are out there. You need the best athletes in the world out there doing it. And, you know, no doubt about it. And I like that about Quinyon because he's not real flamboyant about it. Like he's more subdued.
He's from humble beginnings.
And he's quiet about it, but when it comes to, you know, put up or shut up, he's trash talking out there. He's saying what needs to be said. You remember the story of AJ Brown in OTAs right after they drafted Quinyon, and he's like, I didn't hear this dude say an effing word to me, and I go out and line up against him in practice, and he goes trash route. That's the first words he said to me. You know, so you kind of see that he's got that competitive juice. He's just a little bit more of a, I don't know, maybe an introverted type of guy or just a, you know, a more subdued guy, but that's great. It's good to know that he's got that, I guess you could call it that dog in him a little bit. And you need that when you're playing in corner. You know, you got to have it or else you're going to be burnt toast. So I think Quinyon's got it for sure. Great press conference today from him. He's an impressive young man. I'm really impressed by him so far. I like what I've seen so far. So hopefully he has a good season and he backs up this talk and this camp so far.
Let me tell you how Brady was a shit talker. So Tom Brady, what's the one thing he does every single April every year? He posts his draft picture going in the 7th round or 6th round where he looks like Ichabod Crane and he looks like one of them old fat guys there at the deli serving you up a hoagie. Okay? It's a mindset. Can you imagine living in Wellington, Florida? You're only 15 minutes away from the campus of the University of Florida. They don't even send a guy to go recruit you. Holy cow, would I have a fucking ass with that? My entire career, that would fuel me to where you never, and then they came back after, obviously, when he was at Toledo and wanted him to come to Florida. He wanted nothing to do with that loser, Billy Napier. He wanted nothing to do with that. And here's a guy, again, his journey's a cool journey, but you know what he has? He's a scoreboard kid.
Yeah, he is. And that's a good thing. And he's loyal. I mean, he stayed at Toledo. You heard Nick Saban, on the panel that one time saying, yeah, we tried to get him, in the portal to come to Alabama, and he didn't want to come. So I like that about him. I mean, I would have understood if he left. I mean, it wouldn't have been a knock on him, but the fact that he stayed, I think, is a positive thing. And he's showing a lot, man. I think he's got the potential for Quinyon Mitchell is very high coming into the season. I hope he lives up to it. Don't start reading your own headlines. Stay humble, stay hungry, young man. And I think the sky is the limit for him in this team and in this league.
This is so important. And I'm going to reemphasize it again. Corner, nickel, slot, dime. They're putting him in all these. There's a clear emphasis that Vic wants him on the field. I don't believe Howie has anything to do with this because, believe me, he drafted a corner. He didn't draft a nickel or dime or slot. That's Vic's work. Okay? That's Vic doing that.
Yeah.
That's not because when you ask Howie will tell you, no, we kind of drafted Cooper DeJean to be on the numbers and be a corner. Well, I'll tell you what, if Vic don't see that, he ain't playing there. He's going to play where Vic puts him, and he gives the team the best chance to win. And, again, I mean, boy, that's seeing the middle of the field, seeing the hash marks, seeing the releases on tight ends and backs coming out of the backfield. He's giving him such a crash course in how you look at defense. Plus, you know what else you get to do, Xander? It's a different technique of free, strong, nickel, slot, and corner. You have to have different feet movement. You have to have different backpedaling. Like I tell people, playing right guard and left guard,
it's different.
Completely different than what you think. You just don't slug guys in like that.
Yeah.
It's different hands. It's different punching. It's different sliding. When you got to go slide protect, it's not that easy to do something like that. He was even asked a question at the presser. He goes, hey, man, do you ever do slot when you were at Toledo? He goes, I never played slot.
Yeah.
You know how he found out?
A little bit surprised they moved him there, yeah.
You don't know. You know how he found out? He was walking out to practice, and they said, you're going to play some slot today, too. And he's like, okay, wherever they want. And I'm like, holy shit. That's like them asking him to go play wide out.
Dan, who's your best connection for a cornerback that's been in this league?
I'm sorry?
Who's your best connection for a cornerback that's been in this league that you could potentially get on the show? I think that would be tremendous to talk about that stuff right there.
Rod Woodson.
Yeah, I mean, anybody you can get, I think would be a great add to the show. Just to talk about this. I mean, you're so right. It's so underrated that he's able to do this. And Vic talked about it a little bit, how he's like, I'm going to throw a lot at these guys early and see what they can handle. Quinyon's apparently been able to handle everything and doesn't look bad doing it. Looks pretty good doing it. And to have a guy like that is interesting. And this is, I don't want to turn it negative, but this is what I'm upset about with Cooper DeJean. We're not learning enough about that player. And I think, Vic isn't learning a lot about him, because how much does Vic Fangio know about Quinyon Mitchell now that he didn't know a week ago?
At Iowa.
I mean, this is incredible stuff. Vic Fangio is probably drooling looking at this guy. Holy shit, we got a 22-year-old guy that I can line up anywhere in the back end of the defense. I mean, remember, he played some freaking dime linebacker. This is a guy they've moved all over the field, and he's handled it with ease all over the place. So good stuff from Quinyon Mitchell, man. But hopefully Cooper gets out there soon, because I'd like to see the same treatment given to him and see how he handles it too.
You know what I'm going to do too? If I'm not mistaken, I think I got Aeneas Williams' number 2. So we'll get somebody like that on, who was a Hall of Fame corner. I got a bunch of guys here. I think I got Aeneas. I got Aeneas Williams. So we'll get somebody like that. That's a great idea in how you play cornerback. Aeneas Williams, you may not know the name, but Aeneas Williams is a Hall of Fame player. Played for the Cardinals. He was a heck of a football player. So I like the fact that AJ is after the practices. I think that, you get this, hey, man, when you get your hands inside, always remember you're trying to get people to have release inside, not outside it, because if guy going down the sidelines, he's got you beat. So he's saying that he's teaching him and telling him always have a wide receiver go back to traffic. And again, That's essential, Xander. When you've got somebody like AJ going, don't give up your outside shoulder, because when you start giving up your outside shoulder, that's when you're going to end up getting beat. So at the end of the day, you've got these legendary players now working with these corners. I can't tell you how important that is to have somebody like that working with these younger players.
I agree. Do you still have me, by the way? My internet.
Yeah, no, I see you going in and out. You're all good. I got you. We're good.
You can hear me though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. No, you're right. Definitely, for sure. So we'll see. I think it's going to be a big year for these young guys, and there's a lot of young cornerbacks, Dan, I think can take some of these lessons and apply them. And it applies to Keely Ringo. It applies to even Isaiah Rodgers, who was out of football for a year. So it's good to see that they have coaching out there, real coaching that's showing them stuff that matters. Hopefully they can all answer the call, because team is relying on them this year to have a big year for sure. So hopefully they can do it. And I think it's going to be a good year for them.
I didn't ask you this yesterday. Last one here for you. Supposedly Justin Simmons and the Eagles are in contact. I'm not saying there's a deal, but I'm saying that they have had conversation. Now, is that if you believe you're a Super Bowl team, that's a Super Bowl move, Xander.
Is it?
I don't think you have a Super Bowl defense right now.
Yeah, but is that the ad that makes you a Super Bowl defense?
Okay, so let me ask you this. You have Quinyon Mitchell at corner. You have Justin Simmons, who led the last 3 years the NFL in interceptions. And you have Avonte Maddox, and you have Slay. How's that secondary look when you put those three together?
It's good. I just don't know how much of an ad or an improvement that he would be. A 31-year-old Justin Simmons. How much of an improvement is he over Reed Blankenship?
I'm not a lot. He's better than him. He's second team All-Pro last year.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I feel good about that safety position, better than most people do. Maybe it's because John's told me that they look pretty good out there, but I don't know. I mean, you're right. I think a move should be made. I just don't know where it is. I think it's more depth on the defensive line. I really do. I mean, this is a good point here from Bob Brown. I hope I'm not cutting out. I know my internet sucks. Sorry, everybody.
Hey, we can hear you though. We got you.
Adding Simmons allows the kids to have a player coach on the field who knows Vic's system. That's fair. I mean, maybe I have PTSD from this guy. What a joke he was last year. He didn't do a damn thing for this team last year, Kevin Byard. He didn't do a damn thing. And I heard the same shit. Oh, he's an all-pro. He's this, he's that. He sucked. He did nothing. I think he made us worse. I think we got worse when he got here, literally. So I don't know.
So you'd rather listen, I don't think you're wrong here. I'm just saying that he'd be a 1-year deal, Xander. And I'm not talking about future stuff, but so you want to play the young guys and you want to get it out of the way. And by the way, you might be 10-7, but you might be a 14-win look team when December comes. That to me is how I want to look at it. Like I said to you a couple days ago, Kansas City looked like a 9-win team the first 9 games of the year. They looked like a 14-win team the last month of the season, and they were playing like a 14-3 team. You know what I'm saying? I mean, okay, that to me is how you win Super Bowls.
Yeah, I mean, look, I get the debate. So, for the people saying it shouldn't even be debated or whatever, I get it. I mean, I see the other side. I'm kind of just trying to view it from almost a devil's advocate point of view, where you're just like, if you get Justin Simmons, does he immediately catapult your defense to a Super Bowl contending defense? I don't think so. Maybe he does. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm open to being wrong. I'm not trying to be right on everything I say up here. Believe me, I know I'm not. I don't think that's the ad that makes you a Super Bowl contender. I think it's a perfect world and it's a perfect scenario and you need it to all play out in your favor. But if you get guys like Reed, Cooper, Quinyon Mitchell, CJ Gardner, if all of these guys can live up to their potential this year, that is a Super Bowl caliber defense. Adding a 31-year-old guy, like, I don't know. I'm like done with the old man, with the older players. We've had Robert Quinn, we've had Kevin Byard now. None of these guys really work that well, especially when they get older. And I just don't know if bringing them in now makes sense. That's
How about this? Well, the reason why you bring up Justin Simmons, Bradbury's on the team. What's his?
True.
Okay, he's on the team for a reason. Vic wants him there. Okay, I mean, you can't think the Eagles want him on that roster.
Yeah, I mean, Justin Simmons is a replacement for Bradbury.
Yeah,
2 31-year-old guys.
One
Justin's
guy had
gonna
a Pro Bowl
Justin
year.
will want to be a starter though.
But remember something, different than Kevin Byard. The last 3 years in the NFL, he has more interceptions than any safety in the league. I mean, he's been productive. We're not talking about a guy who's on the downside here.
Good point, Joshua. You're right about that. Sly's still playing good ball in his 30s. I mean, I get it. I don't know.
It's not as demanding as a corner. Corner is very demanding.
I get a little fearful of like the patchwork where you go.
I hate the old guys too. I do.
No. I see. I don't hate the old guys. I hate the old guys when you think they're gonna like make you a Super Bowl contender. When you have a team that's really good and you add guys like Ndamukong Suh and Linval Joseph, who are both north of 30 for depth pieces and for rotation and to value, that I love. That I think gives you a chance to get over the edge. But when you tell me you're going to bring in Justin Simmons, who's 31, and all of a sudden your defense is going to be a Super Bowl caliber defense, top 10 or top 15, I have a hard time buying that. Like I said, I might be wrong. I might be dead wrong, and I'm okay with that. That's just how I see it right now, that I don't think Justin Simmons is going to be the type of value add that some people think he's going to be. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he would be that guy, but I'd almost feel better going in with the young guys, letting them get up there, letting them get up to speed, letting them play, and seeing what they're capable of doing. If they stink, make a move at the deadline. I mean, I think it's the same thing. I don't know if I see bringing in Justin Simmons now. I don't see that the same way where it's like, okay, now we got a Super Bowl defense because we upgraded from Reed Blankenship. He's not the weak link on defense. He's not. He's not great. I know he's not an all-pro, but he's not the weak link on this defense. The weak link on this defense is the linebacking core and the depth on the roster.
And the inexperience.
Exactly.
Okay, remember that. That is sometimes more important than even like Zach Bond or any of these other guys.
That's true. Because, good point. I mean,
okay, experience is the reason why Bradbury's on the team. He's not better than Mitchell. He's not better. There's not a chance, talent-wise, that Bradbury's better than Quinyon Mitchell. But you know what he is? He does know where to go.
Yeah, it's true.
He does know where to line up.
I'm not saying Simmons isn't a good player. I agree. He is a good player. Like I said, I just struggle with the idea that he's going to completely change who we are as a defensive football team.
I completely agree with Prince here on this one. That he does help that weak linebacking core back there being a better tackler.
Yeah, that's true.
He is a better. Justin Simmons is a better tackler than Reed Blankenship. Okay, he is a better tackler.
That's true. It's a good point by Prince, who has a lot of good points. Appreciate you, Prince. This is interesting too. Brinson says, "Watch Simmons tape from last year." Okay, Ronald, I'm on the show, so tell me what you saw. Was it good or was it bad?
He was really good.
Yeah, was he?
Yeah.
All right.
But then again, he was really good when Miami put up 70 on him.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's so true.
Hey,
he's 30 years
remember
old.
this.
I mean,
Miami dropped a 70 burger on that team.
Wait, so here's the other question, though, I have. All right, so last year he played 15 games. The year before that, he played 12 games. Other than that, he's been pretty good on the injury front. Here's the other question I have with Justin Simmons. If he's so damn good, why the hell is he still in the market?
Because he can pick and choose what he wants to do.
Is that really it, though?
Yeah. He's not going to just sign with a team, Xander.
No,
He's got multiple people looking at him and wanting him to be on a team.
Yeah, and I got news for you. None of them are giving him the type of money that he wants, and that's why
someone gets hurt.
That's why he's held out to this point. If somebody came to him when the free agency window opened and said, "Hey, here's 3 years and $50 million," I guarantee you Justin Simmons wouldn't be on the market right now.
How do you know he's not looking for the best of both worlds, where he wants to win a ring and he also
might be, but if that's the truth, which I think it is, that would insinuate he's past his playing prime.
Yeah, he's got 1 year left.
Well, he's 30. I think he's got a couple more than 1 year left, but I think he's past that stage, because if he was still the type of player that everybody is saying he is, Maybe he is. Like I said, I might be freaking wrong. I don't know. But the fact that he's still in the market, I get it. There's some of these older players like to pick and choose, but that's like what Sue did and what Cam Hayward did. These are guys who know that they're well past their days of getting a big contract, and they wait for the right team to get the right opportunity. That's a different scenario than saying I'm 30 and I'm an all-pro caliber player. If you're an all-pro caliber player, you would have been picked up by now. And somebody would have given you the money that you wanted, because there's a lot of teams in this league that could use all-pro talent on their defense. But the fact that nobody's done it, nobody's gone there, we're just going to sit here and say it's because Justin Simmons wants to wait? I don't know about that one. I don't think anybody in their right mind, no matter how rich you are, wants to just say, I'm going to wait to take that bag of money. I don't think the bag of money ever came.
You know,
I think that's part of the reason now he's like, okay, I'll wait for the right team. It's a good pivot.
And you got a guy on your football team that was graded the worst corner in the league, making $12 million.
Who's that? James Bradbury?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's a different scenario because he was already on this roster.
Well, if I cut him, I saved $9 million. My point is that money sometimes dictates a lot of how teams are going to react to bringing in a player and how a player sees what he wants to do. Personally, he's not chasing a bag of money, dude. He's chasing opportunity and money. That's you're not going to get the best. You're not at 30 years old. You're not going to get the best of both worlds.
Okay, so my point is, if you're that much of an impact of a player, though, a team is going to give you the money. Look at who's the dude who just got signed from the Giants? Xavier McKinney. He was like good, but he's not like
million.
18 million.
The Green Bay gave him $18 million.
18 million. He's not an $18 million player. My point was, people were like, I need a guy. Go give him the money. That's what teams do in the NFL. And nobody gave him the money. He's 30. Million. He's not even 31 yet. He's 30 years old. It's like Hassan Reddick. Hassan, I know you're great. I know you're better than 14 and a half, but the market dictates it. If you're not worth $25 million because not a single team in the league will pay it to you, you're not worth $25 million. And that's where I kind of think Justin Simmons might be. Like I said, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he is that good of a player. I just feel like if he was that good of a player, that he turned us into a Super Bowl caliber team that quickly, he wouldn't be sitting on the market here at the end of July.
Yeah, I was right. We're talking about a safety here too.
Yeah,
safeties don't have big markets.
Exactly.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know.
You're not getting a ton of money playing safety.
I'm not saying Justin Simmons is a bad player for everybody saying.
I know you're not. You're not. I get it.
But you know how it is. I mean, I
just how he looks at the economics too. And
I don't think he's a cure-all. I don't think he does for this defense what some people think he might do. And that's make us like, all of a sudden a perennial Super Bowl contender because we signed a 30-year-old guy that nobody else in the league wants for the price he wants.
Xander, great stuff. You guys are doing a special show right after this one too, right?
Yep.
With you and John McMullen are doing a special Birds 365, right?
Yes, sir. 6 to 8 p.m. tonight.
So again, and fantastic stuff. John's been sending and Xander's been posting some really great content here on JAKIB. Make sure you go over and check it. Xander, by the way, how many likes we got here, man?
We got 199 big sales right now.
Holy cow. Let's see if we can get to 300.
Yeah, 300. I like it.
How about this? We go from you and what John McMullen is. We go to our own Fox 29, Gary Cobb. Thank you, Xander. And I've been dying to wait to hear what Gary Cobb has had to say because Gary Cobb's been out there too, and he's been watching. And I'm going to say this before we bring Cobb in. I've been very encouraged. I've been very encouraged by and hey, when I say this, Gary Cobb's probably going to laugh his ass off. They practiced today for an hour and 40 minutes. Gary's going to go, Sills. But I'm going to go in today's NFL. That's a lot. Okay? When he and I practiced, they were 3-hour practices. I posted down at Pepin Root Stadium when I was with the Buccaneers. We had 3 days down there with Ray Perkins, and we were doing 3-hour practices all 3 of those days for those 3 days. We had a month of that, okay? Those days are gone. Let's bring in Gary Cobb from Fox 29. Them days are gone, huh, Gary, man, when you're doing them 3-hour 3 days.
It's changed. Yeah. Nobody does that anymore. And really, when you think back, it really probably is not the smartest thing to be just kind of burning yourself out. And then you go into the season. And this is what I experienced. You're going to see, you're going down. You know, you're worn down. And I believe in having a physical team where you're aggressive and everything. But you can't just beat each other up so much that you don't. And really, when I think back to during that time, there was one team that didn't do that. And that was the San Francisco 49ers. They did not do all of that where they're pounding each other. And, of course, they were the ones putting rings on their fingers. So, you know, you got to be smart about it. And I think you can be aggressive and you have a tough football team at the same time. Make sure your guys get rest and everything and are ready to play their best football.
Gary, what has been your takeaway so far in the first week? Today, obviously, the first day in pads, but what's been your immediate takeaway being around the team?
I was very impressed with how Jalen was getting the ball out of his hands. 1, 2, 3, that ball is coming out. He's reading what they're seeing, and he's making quick decisions. And I think that, you know, Kellen Moore is probably the one that's had that influence on him to tell him, look, get the ball out of your hands, get the ball into the hands of your playmakers, and you're going to be all right. And if we can get into a rhythm where we're getting the ball, you're getting the ball out of your hands, it's going to really put a lot of pressure on the defense, you know, because, you know, we're going to be staying out of 3rd and longs. You know, we're going to be in situations where it's 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2. And if we stay in those situations, you know, it's really going to put a lot of pressure on the opposing defense. And then we are going to decide when we're going to take our shots downfield, see? And, you know, they got a lot of weapons. I mean, offensively, they're just going to be a tough team to deal with. And we just saw a little bit today of them running the ball a little bit because they had the pads on. But, you know, you got that running game with Saquon Barkley, and you're getting the ball into the hands of all these other playmakers. It's really going to put a lot of pressure on all the defenses they face. And I think that's what Kellen Moore is doing. And the thing is, a lot of motion. They're doing different things with formations where they're really putting teams in tough situations. And, you know, they could be going to any of their weapons anytime. So it really looks like they're going to have an explosive offense that is going to be hard for you to deal with. So, of course, that's easy to say now. But you got to feel good about. I feel good about what I've seen so far out there at the training camp.
How about this, Gary? Try to explain from a linebacker's point of view what motion does when you're talking about, you know, what an offense is doing, and all of a sudden, you know, when you're in the middle of the field, it's something that the Eagles are doing a ton of. I mean, they're doing dual motion too. There's no question. Everyone has noticed it, and it's got to be a preset snap tool, I would think, to help Jalen understand how guys get open. But from your point of view, having played 10 plus years in the NFL, what does motion do for a defensive player and for a defense, and how you've got to counter that?
Well, when a guy goes in motion, okay, first of all, it lets the quarterback know whether you're in man-to-man or zone. Because if somebody's following the guy, you know they're in man-to-man. If everybody's staying put, then you know they're in zone. And usually it's very hard to disguise it. Sometimes, you know, teams will try to disguise it, but it's not an easy thing to do. And then the big thing is communication. And this is where it just burns me up last year that they ran so little, you know, of motion, because people make mistakes all the time. The defense, I thought you said, you know, and everybody's screaming and yelling. A lot of times the defense cannot hear exactly what is the other guy saying, or you're using signals, but there's always miscommunication where the guy said, oh, I thought you meant this. I thought you meant that. Well, I was thinking this or that. And you have guys coming wide open because people make mistakes. And this happens all the time. So when you go in motion, if there's a guy following them, even with the DBs, at times, you know, they're going to snap the ball when he's right behind another receiver. So then they got to make a decision. You know, who is going to take who? and a lot of times one guy will end up naturally picking the other guy, and the other guy, one of the guys is wide open. This happens all the time because it's very difficult for the defensive backs who, if it's a wide receiver and they're following them, they've got to communicate on the spot, and you don't know where the guy's going to stop at. Where is he going to be at when they snap the ball? Nobody knows. So there's this indecision, and that equals mistakes. So you have that. And then at the same time, a lot of times what you have is if they're in man-to-man, it's very tough to cover. If they're in zone, a lot of times you're going to end up with two guys on one of the defenders. So that means the guy that's behind the receiver, one guy can go out and clear, and the other guy's going to be open. Because if he just runs downfield, and it's almost like a shield for guys. So it really is kind of a natural thing that
it's like
a lot
a
of times
built-in
it creates
pick play.
problems for the defense.
It's
Because
like
they
a
got to
built-in-
communicate, but
It's
you
like a
don't know
built-in
where.
pick play.
What's that?
It's like a built-in pick play.
It's exactly what you said. It's a built-in pick play. That's what it is. And you don't know where's the guy going to stop at. He could be going to the other side where there are two receivers. Either one of those guys, he could be behind when they snap the ball. And also, it could be a run because that guy could be utilized as a blocker on a running play that way. Or he could be utilized as a clear-out guy for a running back that ends up catching a short pass behind both of those two receivers. See, so there's a lot of things that can happen, but it creates a lot of problems for a defense, and especially if you have a defense that they're having trouble hearing, and guys get nervous, they're not sure what each other are saying, and you have mistakes. I mean, look at the Eagles. Shame of it is, when they got to the Super Bowl, the Chiefs ran some plays with motion, and a couple of guys came open and walked into the end zone with the
Guys were
deciding
running
touchdown.
into each other in the fourth quarter. They were running into one another
That's
on
right.
them crossing routes.
That's what happened is because of motion, those guys end up, really sabotaging themselves, and that's what ended up costing them that Super Bowl. And there were guys wide open because you have all kinds of mistakes. When guys go in motion, a lot of times you're going to have mistakes, you're going to have miscommunications, and then you're going to have sometimes where the play is just great against a particular defense you're in. So I say, hey, if you don't do some motion, it's malpractice offensively, if you don't do some motion.
How about this, Gary? To the other side, Dallas Goedert was saying how, one of the things that you're noticing about the defense is multiple fronts and multiple looks and what Vic is doing there. So,
yeah,
they may line up in a 34, but 79% or 69% of the time, you may see nickel package back there too. So there's no question that Vic's moving people around, and it's very noticeable to the offensive guys. It's almost like you've got a completely different football team. You're using motion on offense, and you're using multiple fronts on the defensive side of the ball, which to me, in my opinion, it sounds like these two coordinators are using the personnel that they have on the roster to the best of the ability to put these guys in a position to win. I mean, it really sounds a complete upgrade from coaching from a year ago.
Well, I think it is, but, of course, you got to go out there and you got to execute it. And the big thing is, when you've got young players on defense, see, I do like the things Vic is doing because he's really done a great job of teaching them to play. You're really playing man in the zone, okay? We don't just let guys get open for an 8-10-yard gain and don't compete for it. So what we're doing, though, is we are going to be playing zone, but we're playing really a matchup zone. There's a guy in your area, you get on him, okay? As he goes through your area, you pass him on to the other guy, and you end up picking somebody else up, but you got to talk. It's like, when you're playing basketball. You're playing man-to-man. Hey, pick, because, you got to communicate. There's a guy coming in your area, and you're really kind of playing a matchup zone. So that's what they were doing, and they were really working on that when they first got to camp back in the, earlier in the year. They were doing that, and you could see that the guys are learning. They're learning because You don't just go out in the NFL and just drop and let people just catch the ball like they were doing last year, going like, but see, that takes teaching. You got to sit down, you got to teach players, and that's really quality coaching. And you can see that's what Vic Fangio is doing here, explaining to guys how they're going to be attacked. And you see after every play, he's talking to players. And of course, see, when you got young players, though, you sometimes you go in the huddle and you see that look in their eye where they don't know what in the world they're doing. You're going to have that sometime. So you want to teach them, you want to work with them. It's not going to be overnight where everybody's going to get everything. So at times, and I heard him say this, which is when they start screwing up real bad, he's going to get very simple, okay? Because you can't have guys playing football if they're not sure they can't play aggressively. So you got to be able to play aggressively. So if you're going to be where guys are not sure what they're doing, you simplify everything and you say we're going to play hard football, tough football, and then we're going to try to put those put the information in again and go back through it again. So I could see that's what they're doing now. They're working with the guys. I would say that at the practice today, the defense might have had the edge today, which hadn't been the case earlier. But they had a pretty good day today. The defense did, and they were slowing down the offense some. But it's going to be back and forth like that. So, but I like what they're doing. But it's a work. It's a work in progress, and they've got a lot of young players on defense. So they're going to have good games and bad games. Chances are, as guys are learning the system and being able to play fast in the system, where they're confident about what they're doing and they're not making a lot of mistakes.
Couple of more questions here for you, Gary. I love what they're doing with Quinyon Mitchell. He was asked a question today, and he didn't know that he was going to play in the slot until they told him. And they asked him at the press conference this morning, if he had ever played any in the slot at Toledo. He goes, no, I never played in the slot. And what they're doing is they're playing him at nickel, dime, slot, and also at the corner. And I think what that does, and tell me if you think I'm on track with this. I think Vic's giving him a crash course in technique, what he's looking at, how free safeties and strong safeties communicate with corners. You get a different look on the numbers with the half the hash when you're a corner versus if you're in the middle of the field. You get a chance to look at dime personnel. To me, I think he's trying to get him up to speed by looking at what technique, because free and strong are completely different, as corner one and corner two on the right side and left side of the field are, as you know, those are all different techniques. So do you think, is that how, because he's coaching him like he did Surtain. They did the same thing to Patrick Surtain. Yeah. Is that what they're doing with him? Is they're giving him a crash course?
Well, it seems that's what they're doing, because they're having him play everywhere, and so far he's been able to swallow it, because a lot of times, and I don't want to insult anybody, but guys have a certain amount of intelligence. You have some players that can handle more than other players, depending on the level of intelligence and how quickly they can decipher it and be able to play fast with all the different decisions that you have to make and everything. But it seems like, he has been tremendous. I mean, he has done a great job in that. He's played corner. He's playing in there at the nickel spot. He's playing in there at the dime spot. He's really kind of playing linebacker almost. And he's been able to do all that. And he's been solid throughout all of it. So you see that he's able to pick things up very quickly. And of course, he's just a tremendous athlete. I mean, he was playing man-to-man on guys today, and battling AJ. Him and AJ going at it a little bit out there.
Talking a little trash out there, I hear. I hear these guys bark at one another. I like it.
Yeah, it's great because, AJ is a beast.
He is.
Come on. When you out there, you see somebody out there come out there at wide receiver, built like he is, as big as he is.
Oh, he's a modern-day Michael Irvin. He's a modern-day Michael Irvin.
That's right. That's what he is. You're right. He's the same kind of a player, and aggressive and strong, and even though he doesn't talk as much as Michael, though.
No.
Hey, but who does? Who could?
No one. No one here. Gary, finally, finally here on this. So Grant Calcaterra today was talking about Kellen Moore's offense, and he called it a progression offense. And I took the takeaway for me was, and he said this too, Grant goes, well, when you have a progression offense, that means everyone's an option. Compared to a year ago where you were just throwing to two dudes and potentially a tight end, you're talking about wide receiver 3. You know, they were talking the other day about AJ being in the slot, Devontae being in the slot, wide receiver 3 maybe being a Y and Z if they have to, if they're moving guys around. It just seems that there is a massive effort by this offensive coach to make sure that they're implementing every single asset they have on this team to the best of their ability. And that includes Saquon Barkley. You know, I don't see RPOs. You know what I do see? Read option. Now, that's a form of RPO.
That's
so
right.
when you see the read option in there, that to me, they're trying to find right run plays for Jalen to run. But if they're going to do RPO, I mean, if they're going to do read option, that's pseudo RPO, isn't it?
That's right. That's right. And yeah, they're going to run some of that. It looks like the RPO, you know, to me, it looks much like what Jalen was doing, you know, last few years, you know, especially in the Super Bowl year. So I think they're going to do that, and they're going to really put a lot of pressure on a defense, because at times when they go in motion and they force you into a situation where you don't have enough people to play the position, meaning like to play this play. Either somebody's going to take Jalen to where they're not going to let him run, or somebody's got to catch Saquon Barkley getting the ball, you know, tossed to him by Jalen on that RPO. So I think that they seem like they're just going to get everybody involved. They're going to get guys, get the ball in the hands of all these players on the run. They want to get it to them, and they're going to really put a lot of pressure on defenses. But they're going to see every player getting in and having a part in the offense. You can see they really spread the ball around, and they'd like to get the ball into the hand of guys while they're on the run, meaning like getting it to them quickly. And I see they're letting Jalen, where he's getting that ball out of his hands and getting it to the hands of the playmakers. And so it's going to be exciting. I think that, you know, they're still learning and everything. It's going to be a process, but I'm really excited about what I see out there at camp.
One last one, Gary. I brought this up, and you tell me if there's a need for this. You know, Justin Simmons is out there. You know, Quinyon Mitchell, Justin Simmons, maybe Reed Blankenship, or you have whatever your combination is at safety and slot. Then you have Slay on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he played for Vic. You know, I mean, is that a move? From what I understand, they've been in contact, but Simmons is looking for the bag of money and also opportunity. So you're going to compromise both. Would that be a move, or would you still want to go with the younger guys?
Well, you know, if they're able to get him, come on, you got to do that. I mean, if they're able to do it, and I don't put anything past, you know, Howie. Howie is able to work magic, you know, with the salary cap. So if they can do that, because you come in with a guy that's experienced right away, he's going to be helping everybody else learn the system. You know, especially if you got a safety who's been through the system before, because he knows what everybody else is doing. And so your timing ends up getting better. And the guys are going to end up playing it better, quicker, because you got a guy that knows what it takes to have the system work. So if they were able to bring him in, I would be enthusiastic about that, because he's an outstanding player. But the thing is, though, you're bringing in smarts, because he's been a safety in the system. And the safety has got to know where everybody's at. See, if he just played corner, you know, that's different. Safety's got to know what everybody else is doing, because a lot of times he's got to make adjustments depending on what everybody else is doing. And he's got to know where guys are going to be at. So if he were to come in, it would be another shot in the arm if they were able to do that. I wouldn't put it past Howie if he gets the chance, but we'll see. I don't know how probable that is, but it's just something that if they were able to make happen, when you bring in a player of that quality, you'll be all over that.
In the last 3 years, he's the #1 interception leader in the NFL, and he was second team All-Pro. last year in Denver, and obviously played for Vic in Denver when he was running that system there too.
Yep.
So again, that has to be something that they would contemplate. Gary, I'll tell you what, man, really a really good week for the Eagles in front of the microphone, the players talking. It seems they put 23 behind them.
Yep.
It's a new direction. You're seeing a lot of coaching. You're seeing a lot of hard work compared to a year ago. So pretty encouraging in the first week. Don't forget to catch Gary Cobb, Fox 29, covers the Eagles for Fox 29, former Eagle himself. Gary, thanks a lot, my friend.
All right, man. Have a good one.
You got it. That is Gary Cobb, who was out there covering the Eagles for Fox 29. Good stuff, man. All right, Xander, where are we in the like list now? Dude, are we going to be able to make a run at 300? I like that. One of my favorite movies of all time, too, by the way. 300. Are we going to make a run for 300? 227 we are at right now. Very good. We got about an hour and 15 minutes left. So, guys, let's see if we can make a run at 300. One of the greatest movies of all time with Leonidas. Okay? This is Philly! Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Win and save this baseball season from Colony Pools and Power Washing, a local company serving Delaware, Delco, and Chester County since 1970. Are you tired of looking at your green house? Is your roof, siding, deck stained green from algae and mold? Let the experts pressure wash your home and take the pressure off of you. Win with Colony Pools and Power Washing. Call them now at 302-762-2250. That's 302-762-2250.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Cowboys are all talk. Mozzie Smith is now saying, well, I'm in a better place than I was a year ago. You're not good. You're not a good football player. The Cowboys know this. It's like Nakobe Dean talking. Can't wait to get the pads on. Why? So you get hurt again? I mean, sometimes your brain doesn't really have reality to it sometimes when you're looking at how you see yourself. You're just delusional. Okay, you're just delusional. Nakobe, you really want the pads on? Son, let's worry about here. You get this. You want to know how bad and where Dean is as a player? You have not been developed in 2 years in Philly because of time missed. You're basically still a rookie. Just because you've been on the team doesn't mean you have game reps or practice reps. You're so far behind. Right now, Nakobe Dean is a free agent. He's the talent of a free agent. Zach Bond is better. Says you're being hard on him. No, I'm telling you who he is. Organizations like the Eagles and a lot of places, they struggle at understanding their failure. The one thing that I really loved what New England did, that was a great thing. They recognized when a guy like N'Keal Harry sucked, they moved off that guy as fast as they could. When they knew that guy couldn't get separation, I said it when he was at Arizona State. That guy is a first-rounder bullshit. He can't get off the line of scrimmage versus Oregon State. How's he going to get off the line of scrimmage in the NFL? Ridiculous. Ridiculous to think that. So, again, understanding who you are at the end of the day also helps organizations move off the guys quick. Hey, it's what makes organizations competitive year in and year out in each and every single year is when they do that stuff. Zach Bond sucks. Zach Bond's going to be your starter. He's getting all the reps. Taylor goes, Zach Bond sucks. Funny. Always remember this. Zach Bond is your starter. It ain't Nakobe Dean. It ain't Nakobe Dean. You know why? He's getting all the tape. Zach's getting all the tape. You don't play a guy in minicamp and in training camp and then turn around and start the other guy. That's not how it works. Vic's preparing Zach Bond to be the starting inside linebacker next to Devin White. Case closed. Unless something dramatic happens, Nakobe Dean is a bench warmer. He's a bench warmer. Please hit the like button, guys. We're about 51 shy of 300 likes. You guys are killing it today. You should, because I think the Eagles had a great day today. Be cautious of moving on from young player sales. Dean is confusing, though, but this is it for him. Hey, I'm awake. Are you? You know what? He might be a good player. One thing I do know, though, he can't stay healthy. I'm not building a football team around a guy who I can't count on to be on my roster for 17 weeks. I would take the lesser player. I would take the lesser player, knowing full well that I would be able to at least be able to build a defensive scheme around a guy. You've got to have guys on your roster and in your starting lineup you can trust that are going to be there week in and week out. Get this. That's sometimes the hardest thing to have to overcome. Will he be there for 17 ball games? You know, one thing you say about James Bradbury, 1,051 snaps, took more snaps than any player on that team last year. If they didn't think that highly of him, why did he have the most snaps? Pete says that reality hasn't caught up with some of these guys, Sills. Correct. Sills, what's that quote you said? Your brain doesn't understand the reality. Yeah, because you've been so successful, Pete, at what you've done, you see a different guy, and because you don't understand where you are in the building, you don't understand the reality. You're never healthy. You're not good when you're in there. And you have false steps. Why does Nakobe Dean have false steps? lack of practice, lack of grass time. His technique is terrible. Why? Well, he doesn't practice a lot and he doesn't have game reps. Well, how are you going to get better? By what? Hoping it? This is a game of reps. Why do you think Jalen Hurts is practicing more reps this year than he did a year ago? There's a lot more new stuff. He's got to do pass protection. It's progression reading now. They're moving with more motion. He's seeing a completely different offense than he did the last 2 years. That's another thing. It tells you how smart Jalen is. You know, I don't think that that's been reported enough. The brilliance and how smart that guy is. His IQ, he is not a dumb fuck. You've had 3 different systems over 4 years. And you've played inside those systems to where you've earned a $51 million a year check. You've done something right. You got a team to a Super Bowl, you signed a $51 million check, and you've had 3 different views or 4 different views of offenses. It's pretty crazy great. He's a smart kid. That's a smart player to be able to overcome that. Think about the great quarterbacks that are in the game, or think about the great quarterbacks that have ever been in the game. Patrick Mahomes has had to. How many years has Patrick Mahomes been in the NFL, guys? How many years? How many years has Mahomes been in? What year is this now? 7? How many years? How many years has he been in the league, Patrick Mahomes? Does anybody know? Bradbury will be 31 next year. That is old for a corner. Okay? Damn, some love for Jalen Sills. Well, when you do things that are good, you get love. Is this 7 years now for Mahomes? Thanks, Taylor. 8 years? He's had 1 play caller. Where do you think Jalen Hurts would be if he had 1 play caller the last 4 years? Where do you think he'd be? If Hurts had 1 play caller for 8 years. Say he had Shane Steichen for 8 years. Where would he be? Probably be in the hospital a little bit. Because he'd be more beat up. He'd be more beat up under Shane. He would. There'd be a ton of winning. Man, Patrick Mahomes been in the league 8 years. Got 4 Super Bowl appearances and 3 wins. And 3 rings. It's crazy. He's got 3 rings. I mean, look at what he did with Shane in 2 years. He's had more play callers in college and pros probably than any other quarterback since Angelo. I mean, think about that. I mean, how about this? Zach Taylor's been the same play caller for Burrow. Montana had the same play caller in Walsh. Aikman had North Turner the whole time. You think there's any coincidence to that? Peyton Manning had Tom Moore the whole time, 10 years, as his play caller in Indy. You think there's any coincidence to that? Look at the success that you're seeing with Matthew Stafford. Look at the success you're seeing. Andy Reid is the play caller. Mahomes was just set up for success. Yeah, but Mahomes didn't. He said it numerous times. I didn't know how to read a defense. I didn't know how to read it. Chris goes, couldn't that be somewhat on Jalen too? No, it's on your team's success and the lack that your organization. Here, Chris, this is part of the stuff that when I get critical of your organization, where you're constantly never evolving your quarterbacks. You don't develop quarterbacks in Philly. You don't develop them with any consistency. It's not sustainable. You're constantly moving off of coordinators. I brought this point up to you. Since 2021, Gannon, Desai, Patricia, now Vic. Offense, Sirianni, Shane, Brian, and now Kellen. Since 2021, 4 years, you've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different coordinators on both sides of the ball. You've had 4 on defense and 4 on offense. How in the fuck are you going to build consistency and continuity with that turnover like that? Do you understand it's remarkable how much winning you do with that kind of instability at your coaching? How do you player develop? That's the problem I have right there in a nutshell, your organization, and how you don't develop linebacker. You can't develop a linebacker to save your life because of this. How are you going to develop corners in secondary when you're losing guys like Denard Wilson? You're allowing guys like that to walk out the building. You've changed 8. I'm not even talking about position coaches. 8 coordinators under the Nick Sirianni regime. You think that's crazy? 3 years he's been a head coach. You've had 8 different coordinators. Surely you don't think that that's normal. Is there a place unless you're someplace like Carolina or places that lose like the Jets? Look at Kansas City. Reed's the head calling play coach. How many years has Steve Spagnuolo been there? 7? There's no coincidence to that. Good assistant coaches want to become head coaches. True. But you have to have contingency plans. One of your head coaches has to be a coordinator. Belichick being the defensive pseudo coordinator in New England helped twofold. Helped Brady develop, and he kept an eye on the defense. Bill Belichick will go down as the greatest assistant defensive coordinator of all time, and he'll go down as the greatest head coach of all time. And coach 2 of the greatest players of all time. There's no coincidence. Brady and LT. There's just no coincidence to that. So he's won the most, coached the 2 greatest players on both sides of the ball. That's not by coincidence. You think it's luck? When you have a quarterback in the same offense for 3 years or more, you allow him to master the offense as well as work on other skills. Reading defenses, sliding protections, absolutely DFW. DFW, I'll make this point to you about kind of off subject here a little bit. Can I tell you where the Cowboys are right now? They're in the land of Danny White. Kind of good, but not really great. That's where they are with Dak. You guys probably don't know who Danny White is. Went to numerous NFC title games. Actually, Danny White probably won more. But they're in the land of Danny White. Kind of good, but not great. And not good enough. And they're going to pay that guy $60 million a year. And they're going to stay in the land of Danny White, Tony Romo, Dak Prescott. The guys who are the all-time leading passers in Dallas Cowboy history, you know who they are? Romo, Dak, and Danny White. The winning guys are Aikman, Staubach. Those are the winners. Yeah, you know who he is, Kyle. Reed said that. Takes, 4 or 5 years before you master an offense. So what does that say for Jalen learning or adjusting to the new play callers every year or every other year? First, it's impossible to develop. Think about that think about that. Your organization limits his potential and limits his growth by constantly changing in and out coordinators. And when you're good, they raid you. So you're either, get this, there's two things the Eagles do. They panic, and when they're good, they lose them. There's no commitment to development. Who's going to develop Jalen Carter? This is second D-line coach in 3 years, right? Or second D-line coach in 2 years. I love Tracy. Now you got Clint Hurt. Okay. Different philosophies, different mentalities. You had get this. That defense that you have on the other side of the ball has had 3 different voices inside of 18 months. You think they're confused a bit? What they're doing right now is awesome. This is why what I'm telling you is a good thing. They're putting all that shit aside. It's good. Give props to Jalen for taking on a new play caller almost every year since high school. Somehow he's kept getting better. Yeah, but watch this, Forrest. You went like this, Shane. Then you went like this. Now you got to go back up like this. We'll see when he plays. Why wouldn't you want to just keep doing what Peyton did with one play caller? Or with Mahomes, one play caller? You don't really think that Patrick Mahomes would still be a good play caller if you didn't have Andy Reid as his play caller when they lost Tyreek Hill. Andy Reid is more valuable than Tyreek Hill to Patrick Mahomes. That's been proven now. He don't need Patrick. Patrick Mahomes doesn't need Tyreek Hill to win. You know how many quarterbacks can say, I don't need that guy to win? Not many. I don't need a Hall of Fame wide receiver in his prime to win. So Hurts is limited because of changing OCs, but still has a winning record. Don't that make him a very good quarterback? Again, Jeff, it makes him a really good quarterback. He's going to win a lot of games for you. I don't think he can win a Super Bowl with that prototypical criteria. Your Super Bowl quarterbacks, 4,200 yards, 30 touchdowns, passing, about 150 yards rushing. That's the criteria for what we see the last 15 years, 20 years on winning Super Bowls. We don't see the Lamar Jacksons and the Jalen Hurts prototype quarterbacks that win Super Bowls like that. Until that becomes a trend, that's not the trend. That's not a trend right now. Jalen has had 2 of the greatest college coaches. Couldn't learn to pass. I don't believe Lincoln Riley is that good of a coach. I think he's overrated. But I do think Alabama has great coaches. He learned here through his own due diligence. Are you trying to tell me you don't think Steve Sarkisian or Lane Kiffin or Bill O'Brien or any of those guys that have been coordinators in Alabama, and Bama doesn't have the best OCs on the planet? Steve Sarkisian right now, there's a reason he's making $9 million a year in Texas. There's a reason that Lane Kiffin's making $9 million a year at Ole Miss. There's a reason that Bill O'Brien is one of the top offensive minds in the NFL, and he makes a boatload of money too. Why is that? Well, those guys are the top premier coaches when it comes to developing of players. Lincoln Riley's overrated because he can't recruit defensive guys. College coaches weren't trying to teach him to pass. They were trying to win ball games. That's why they moved on when they needed a passer and they went to Tua. Xander was there for that. Always remember this too. When you're in college, they tell you where to throw the ball. When you're in the NFL, you have to know where to throw the ball. And to Tua's point, Tua is Brock Purdy. They're pretty much the same guy. He's just left-handed. Tua Tagovailoa is a left-handed Brock Purdy. They do the same shit. Would you not say that, Xander? Tua's a left-handed Brock Purdy. Throws for a lot of yards, completion percentage high, led the NFL in passing yards. Not the greatest arm on the planet, but they are effective. Tua's not going to roll out because of concussions. He's just left-handed. No, Tua spreads the ball around. Drew Brees is superior to those two guys. Don't confuse yourself. Tua and Purdy and Brees, not remotely close. Okay? Tua throws a way better ball? Absolutely not. He's got a weaker arm than Purdy. They're both not superstar arms. Josh Allen had Brian Daboll for 4 years, and by year 3, he became a really good passer. It takes time, and the Eagles need to be patient if Jalen and Kellen are going to work out. That's why I say, Pete, next year is when you're really going to see Jalen Hurts really take off, in my opinion. Tua is by far more accurate, and he knows how to spread the ball around better than anything that Jalen's done. Now, this looks different. And I want to reiterate that because we're going to reset here. Okay? All right. Do me a favor. Xander, where are we in the like list? I want to get to hopefully we can get to 300. Guys, you guys have been just absolutely awesome today on the first day of pads. And I can't thank you guys enough. We're 258. We're 42 away from 300 likes. Guys, love to get to that number by the end of the program. You guys have been sensational. Sills, what is the most important thing, coaching or talent? Just look at Reed having the luxury of Mahomes instead of a choker like McNabb. I think you have to have a willingness to want to learn too. Ace. I do. I think you have to have a willingness. McNabb had this notion he didn't want to run anymore, so we wanted to become a pocket passer because he didn't like the stereotype that black quarterbacks ran. Who cares? Win games. You know, Lamar faced that a little bit. That's why he didn't run a 40 at the combines, because he ran into a stereotype. I get it. Hey, that's me talking. So when you're a black prospect and you play the quarterback position, there is still a small stereotype that's still there. So you kind of battle that a little bit. No one asked Tim Tebow to play a different position when he was at the combines. Hey, try out halfback. You know what I mean? No one did that. They did that to Lamar. They asked him to play wideout. Tom Telesco did that. And we love Tom Telesco. He's been on the program. Okay, I mean, Tua's more closer to Brees than Purdy. Drew Brees was a special quarterback. I mean, he took a 9-step drop. You know why he took a 9-step? Completely insulting, Yale. It is. Tom Telesco told him to take some routes, and Lamar said, absolutely not. Pete, Drew took a 9-step drop because he was only 6 feet tall. So he could see over the old lineman. He developed that. And that's what Russell Wilson eventually ended up doing, and a lot of shorter quarterbacks too. Brees is better than Tua. Brees is a 70,000-yard passer, Hall of Famer, Super Bowl winner, great player. Great player. And that's after a catastrophic shoulder injury that he got in San Diego. I watched, and I was a sideline reporter. Hey, Yale, you'll love this. I was the sideline reporter for the last college game he ever played. It was Purdue versus Georgia. And I think he threw for like 356 yards. And I remember going home telling my wife then, I go, this guy Brees, man, this guy can throw the ball. He's a short guy, But this guy was great. I'm sitting on the sidelines watching this guy. He threw for like 356. And I was there. I was covering the game, and I was the sideline reporter for the Outback Bowl. And he was just spectacular. All right. Do me a favor, guys. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Win and save this baseball season from Colony Pools and Power Washing, a local company serving Delaware, Delco, and Chester County since 1970. Are you tired of looking at your green house? Is your roof, siding, deck stained green from algae and mold? Let the experts pressure wash your home and take the pressure off of you. Win with Colony Pools and Power Washing. Call them now at 302-762-2250. That's 302-762-2250.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sales Power Hour. Like 30 likes to 300. That would be great, guys. That would be absolutely sensational. Sales 2 is the closest thing to Breeze. He's not as good as Breeze, but he's left-handed. Hey, Pete, you know why there's no left-handed quarterbacks that are backups in the National Football League? You'd have to flip your entire offense. There's no left-handed backup quarterbacks. That means your right tackle is your blind side, and the guys you pay are your left side, blind side offensive tackles like Mulata. Your entire offense would have to be flipped inside out. Your play calling would be different. Okay? Yeah, well, Penix is going to be the starter there. Okay? There's a difference, Suplex. Penix is going to be the starter or given the opportunity to start in Atlanta. Okay? They drafted him. I'm talking about just a regular old left-handed quarterback. It's not happening. That's why one of the reasons why you don't see a lot of left-handed quarterbacks in the league. Who's been the greatest left-handed quarterback? Stabler, Young, and who? Tua. Who else? Can you name one? Young, Stabler, Hall of Fame left-handed quarterbacks. Can you name another guy? Hey, nice. Hey, Bobby Douglas was left-handed. Okay. Vic. Okay. I'm talking Hall of Famers. Warren Moon was not left-handed. Oh, I got to show you this. Boomer was good. Boomer was good. See, get this. Here is the 25th anniversary of the Outback Bowl. And when I was a sideline reporter, this was one of the gifts that I ended up getting. Let me see where that game is. Where was the game on that? Oh, it might have been after this. Oh, here it is. 2000. Here's the game. 2000. Georgia beat Purdue 28-25 in overtime. Right there. Yeah. I did the Outback Bowl with John Gruden and Mike Tirico. And I was a sideline guy. Must have done it for, by the way, I did it with Mike McVay. Mike McVay ran the Outback Bowl. That's John McVay's son. And by the way, John McVay is Sean McVay's dad. I worked for John McVay, who was the director of the Outback Bowl. That's how, I mean, I've known the McVays, God, forever. And yeah, Tirico, it was Tirico, Gruden, and me. I was on the sidelines. And I did it for about 5 or 6 years. Did the Outback Bowl. So yeah, it was a great time. Outback was fantastic. I still think they sponsor that bowl, maybe. Still, if Miami's DR clears Breeze, does Saban stay in Miami for 10 years? Hey, Suplex, that right there was the decision. That was the catastrophic decision for Nick Saban's failure in the NFL. If he gets Breeze instead of Culpepper, which nobody would have taken Breeze over Culpepper at the time. Can you imagine Breeze versus Brady 20 years in the AFC East, what that would have looked like with Saban and Belichick? I wonder how many Super Bowls Brady would have won if Breeze was in that division with Saban, and what would have been a different kind of whole world if they had made the right decision. Culpepper was never the same after his injury. And Breeze went on to great things. There's no question that San Diego fucked that whole thing up by putting him in that game against Kansas City. And he ends up blowing his shoulder out. Nobody wanted him. He was the guy that A.J. Smith screwed up on. Marty Schottenheimer did not want to get rid of Drew Brees. He said he's better than Rivers. And Rivers was great. Okay? Rivers was great. Damn, Seals, you need a storage unit for all. Hey, I'm awake, are you? I just found a bowl of Ozzie Guillen and Harmon Killebrew. That was given to me that I've forgotten all about. I know. I'm with you, man. I got shit all over the place. I got shit everywhere, man. I mean, crazy. Crazy, crazy. We're going to reset here. I want to do something here. We're going to talk a little bit about what went on today again. Guys, please hit the like button. Where are we on the likes? Because I'd love to see if we can get to 300 by the end of the program. Sills, what's your thoughts on Beckham? The kid looks reborn under Stoutland. I think that's one of the reasons why he ended up coming to Philadelphia, was because he wanted to resurrect his career because it wasn't going well in New York. Absolutely, man. Hey, you want to know something too, Yale? How about this one, Yale? Killebrew has more homers than Reggie. He's got more home runs than Reggie Jackson. 273. Thank you, guys. Hey, guys, we're 27 away from 300. Thank you. All right. I want to read you this. CBS came out with the rankings of the quarterbacks in the divisions. I thought we'd take a look at that before we get into resetting what went on Minnesota Twins and Yale. I might be wrong. I could have swore he was a Washington Senator, too. I might be wrong on that. I thought he was a Washington Senator because Twins became the Senators moved to Minneapolis. So I thought he was a Washington Senator. So maybe I'm wrong on that, but because the Senators, or did the Senators become the Rangers? I forget how that worked. So CBS ranked the division with quarterbacks. Here's the NFC South. Cousins, Mayfield, Carr, and Bryce Young. They listed Cousins number 1 with the Falcons over Mayfield. Yeah. Carr 3rd, Bryce Young 4. That sounds right. NFC North, Jordan Love 1, Golf 2. Now, I would go Golf 1 and Jordan Love 2. Jordan Love's had 8 good games. Not saying he's not a good player, but Golf's more accomplished for sure and done more. Arnold 3 and Caleb Williams, Chicago 4. You don't know what he's going to do yet. You just don't know. NFC East. I was shocked they gave Jalen a nod, but Hurts 1, Dak 2, Daniel Jones 3, Jaden Daniels 4 from Washington. AFC West. Mahomes 1, Herbert 2, Aiden O'Connell, Raiders 3. How can the Raiders have Aiden O'Connell as your quarterback? It just shows you how incompetent that organization is. I mean, you have not had a quarterback in the building for the Raiders since Rich Gannon. I mean, you're not going to win until you get a guy in there to help you win. I mean, do the Raiders not know this? Why didn't you go get Kirk Cousins? Why didn't you sign Cousins? You got Devontae Adams. Why in the world do you have Aiden O'Connell? What are you waiting for? I think it's personally that Mark Davis is broke. Or either that or he's cheap. Mahomes 1, Herbert, Aiden O'Connell, and then Bo Nix brings up the rear at 4. AFC South, Stroud 1, Trevor Lawrence 2. Wow. Trevor Lawrence, a $55 million a year guy, is second to Stroud. Can I get my money back? Will Levis 3rd, Tennessee. And I think Anthony Richardson's going to be – Anthony Richardson could be the second best quarterback in that division by the end of the year. Seals, what do you think of Antonio Pierce as the Raiders head coach? I like it. I think more opportunities should be given for former players to get a chance to go in there and be head coaches. Basketball does it. Why can't football? Steve Kerr had that's not true. Steve Kerr was on Greg Popovich's sidelines. Mark Jackson had no experience. I mean, look at J.J. Redick. J.J. Redick has not ever been a coach, ever. Now he's the head coach of the Lakers. Can I tell you why? No, I better not. I better not. Xander is right. We do need more depth on D-line, but to say that Reed is better than Simmons is just ridiculous. I don't think we are going to sign him either, but saying Reed is better than it, Reed's not better than him. Okay, but you got to remember something on what Xander's saying here. Money, youth, longevity favors Reed. It's not just about July 30th, how good Simmons is on July 30th. Is he going to be good by the end of the year? Is he going to be good next year? How much money is he going to cost me? You got to put money into it. It's not college football. How old is he? He's 31. Well, shit. Does this guy run out of gas week 12? All of that plays into it. Okay? Remember, there's only 53 active men. This is not a 100-man roster like college football. I never said you said that. Then again, people listen to 5% of what most people say, so it's all good. Joe Biggs, will the linebacker position come back to haunt us once again? I think we will find a way at safety. Joe, here's the thing. When you get Simmons in there and you put him back there, he helps your linebacking position. He's a better and sure tackler. Why isn't anyone signing Simmons, Sills? He doesn't. Hey, same thing with Sue. When Sue didn't want to sign, they're not going to go to camp. Why would you think Justin Simmons needs to go to camp and Vic Fangio's system that he played in for Vic? In the last 3 years, he's been a Pro Bowl player. He's led the NFL in interceptions as the top player the last 3 years. You think he really needs a camp? I don't. I don't want him in camp. Okay? I don't. We should worry more about the D tackle position. Well, let me. Hey, by the way, Pete, we'll sign Sue then. I would have no problem with that. I want people that are good. Hey, why don't you go do this? Why don't you go get Jeffrey Simmons, the kid from Tennessee, make a play for him? He's 27 years old. And Tennessee's looking to offload everything right now. They need a quarterback. Go get his ass. 19 more likes, guys. Got a half hour to do it. Guys are killing it, man. Thank you. Really means a lot to us. Do they cut Bradbury and sign Simmons later? I think they're going to wait and see how these guys all progress. Yeah, I think Tennessee's in a fire sale right now. Let me finish this up. AFC East, Allen, Rodgers, Tua, and Jacoby Brissett. AFC West, Purdy. This is CBS's rankings. Stafford. I would not put Brock Purdy over Matthew Stafford. You got Geno third, and you got Murray fourth. Man, $46.1 million, and you're considered the worst quarterback in your division. Oof. If you're the Bidwells, you're not liking that. I mean, CBS thinks Geno's better than Kyler Murray. I don't, but his numbers say he is. $46.1 million they gave Kyler Murray. Hey, son, you got to win this year, kid. AFC North, Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, and Russell Wilson. Man, is that going to be a battle? The AFC North is clearly going to be one of the best storylines of the year. I think Cincinnati, Baltimore, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh can all make the playoffs. I mean, that is a great-looking division. As a matter of fact, if you think about it, AFC South, Houston, Tennessee, probably. AFC East, Allen, the Jets, and Miami. Boy, the AFC is going to be a battle. The West, you've got the Chargers and the Chiefs. I mean, winning the AFC this year is going to be insane. And you play twice in that AFC North. Pretty insane in what you're looking at here. Absolutely. All right. I want to go back here a little bit. And I want to give you, where is that sheet? Really, really a great day today. With the Eagles. First day of pads. 6 touchdowns for Hurts in the red zone. By the way, you're going to get even more of an insight because John McMullen's going to be on after the program with Xander for 2 hours when it comes to Birds 365 special show. But I thought, according to what people were telling me, is that there were missed opportunities. Gary Cobb even said it today, who was out there, said that he thought the defense may be a little bit ahead of the offense today. And that there were some missed throws that were wide open that down in the red zone, the defense did a really nice job getting to the quarterback and getting to their spots. The defense, no question about it, in padded drills, a lot of the defensive players are being moved around a lot. There's multiple fronts and multiple looks on what you're seeing on that side of the ball. So you're going to get different looks, 34, 43, banjo, cover 2. Good stuff. 11 to go, Swaggy. I love it. Thank you, my friends. Hit the like button, guys. When I go against AJ, I talk a little trash. I try to get under his skin. We go at it. I just cherish the moment. He is one of the best receivers. Eagles rookie, Quinyon Mitchell. Brother, what's good about that is that AJ allows it. Remember something. When you're a rookie, you're seen and not heard. And when you're talking shit like that, you better make sure you're talking to a guy that will be okay with that. There's so many different types of personalities in the NFL. There's certain guys that would be offended by that shit. But you got a player in AJ, it tells you a little bit about his temperament. It does. I give him a lot of shit, but it tells me a little bit about his temperament. You could never do that to Terrell Owens. Terrell Owens would take that personal. He would take it personal. And it would get to a point where, guess what? It would go over the line. Now, maybe it does go over the line. Okay? He still is A.J. Owens. Once again, senor. He still is. We have my money. I want to get my money. Can I please get my money? I want my money. They got money. How come I don't get money? I'm way better play than he is. Sills, you got a problem with that? No, not really. No. I got him 3,000 yards the last 2 years. Okay, sweetie. I get it. I get it. 200 catches. I got it. I'm going to pay you, honey. Don't worry. I'm going to pay you. You better pay me because I'm going to put a tantrum on.
Big Cell's frozen up. Is he frozen up for everybody else, or is it just me? I think he's frozen up. Let me see if I can take a break, everybody. Let me see if I can get Big Sills back in here. I don't know what the hell happened. Big Sills dropped off. Sorry about that, everybody. Let me take a break. Let me call Big Sills, see what the hell happened. Yeah, I see he was trolling somebody in the middle of the show and just absolutely the YouTube gods, the internet gods, the Eagles gods said, Big Sills, you better shut your mouth. And here he is back. I will let you continue, sir. You better be careful who you troll, Big Sills, because they came in with the Maloik on the internet, brother.
Oh, my God. AJ. AJ. You guys turned me off like that? Is that how you guys treated me? Talking shit on AJ. How he came in and gave me the Maloik. That's what happens if you talk shit on A.J. Brown, Sells. Big Pete. He just shut me off. It went dark, man. It went dark. Jacob needs to pay Sills enough to upgrade that dial-up. Hey, senor, don't you worry about big cells. Okay? I'm in a fascist state. What are you kidding me? Hilarious. See what happened, Sills? Oh. You think you dropped a Maloik on me? Is that what you did? Don't worry, man. You cannot stop big cells. Nobody can stop. You can only hope to contain him. How you doing? Look at Prince, you ass bag. Sills, when's Seth Joyner coming on? Working on it. Seth's big time now. Sills has been having internet issues all month. Senor, I think you're not wrong, dog. My wife gave me shit last night about it. I don't think you're wrong, brother. Okay? All right. So let's get back into what you saw today. I really love it. I really do. Silly been begging Howie to come on the show. I don't beg that dude to come on the show. That'd be like begging the Gator to come on my program. Don't need it. Hey, Kev, I can do without it. I can do without it. It was like the Buccaneers back in the day, Kev. We're not putting any Buccaneers. I was on the flagship station, Yale, of the Bucks. They stopped putting coaches and players on. So you know what I did? Don't need them. You know what he does is call us librarians and CPAs. No. The only difference between the Eagles and the Buccaneers back in the day, you fuckers win more. You guys win more. Sills hates those Gators. You know, I've got a feeling, I'm awake or you. Do you think that that's got a lot to do with me and my angst towards Howie? You think that's got to do with my angst towards him? I'm sure Xander loves Auburn Tigers. Right? Maybe that's got something to do with it a little bit. Sills, if you could get Howie on the podcast, that would be pretty fun to watch. Oh, you couldn't do that, though, Philly, Matt. You know why? You can't ask him real questions. Hey, Howie, how's it feel to be the general manager of the Eagles? Great. Hey, Howie, what happened with Hassan Reddick? You have no idea what you're talking about. It's an unprofessional question, and that's all I'll say about it. Next. No, not next. Well, I'd like to follow up on that. No, I don't want you to follow up. You can't answer a simple question on why you dealt a player for 3 years later on getting compensation. No, I don't want it, and you're ignorant. Oh, an ignorant question about a shit dumbass move. You've got the best player on your defense off the team for a project. It's a dumb question. Well, that's a you thing, Howie. That's a you thing, little guy. Okay? All good. Xander, are we good? I think we would talk more than that. I think he would say more than that. Xander, are we good? People are saying we're frozen up a little bit here. Are we all good? Okay, fantastic. Okay, good. Well, they're messing. Hey, Prince, let me tell you something. You're frozen up. Your takes are frozen. Just like battling over who has a better L in the Super Bowl. Let's go back to that argument. Who had a better L? Keep it professional. It'll be good. Don't question Howie's role or certain moves he's made. Well, then why get him on, Forrest? Two more likes. What am I trying to help? Hey, shut up, Prince. Are you here? Wait a minute. Let me get Prince something. Can I find a napkin to wipe his tears away? Shut up, guy. You know I love you. Give me a dude. I still would be cool to hear Howie answer Big Sills. It'd be great, but Howie still believes we won the Super Bowl. I hope they cut off your neck again, you motherfucker. Hey, Prince, you are the best. You are the type of people that I love, that follow and watched our show. I just love those kind of guys. I really do. I just absolutely love it. Sills, is Marquise Pouncey going to the Hall of Fame? Absolutely. Okay. Howie would put Sills in a headlock. Hey, Kev, Howie has to stand on a 7-foot footstool before he could put me in a headlock. Like a gymnast. Like one of those Team USA gymnast guys that are this tall. Can eat a bowl of soup off their head. Here's Howie trying to put Sills in a headlock. Oh man. Come on, Forrest. How we put Big Sills in a headline? Xander, you're gonna have to Xander, you're gonna have to get the Roseman interview. Sills and Howie will just start saying fuck you back and forth. Hey Dan, fuck you. Hey Howie, fuck you. Hey, guess what? I heard you called me a glorified CPA. Well, you fucking are. Well, you're a fucking douche. Be one of the greatest interviews of all time. Hey, man, do me a favor. Tell me again why you put Matt Patricia in there. Hey, fuck you. We thought the guy wasn't doing a good enough job. You got a problem with that? Yeah, you imploded your defense. Hey, Sileo, I'm the one that built the defense. Okay, well, you fucking are the one that lit it on fire. He's the one that lit it on fire. Yeah. You know what? And I give Xander this too a little bit. Can you believe how he's done a great job in what he's done of building this team up? Well, yeah. After you lit it on fire a year ago? Yeah. Well, hey, congratulations for cleaning up the Exxon Valdez. You hired a captain that ran the Exxon Valdez into you grounded it. Hey, what happened? Who's the guy that ran the Exxon Valdez ashore? Brian Johnson. Oh, who hired him? Howie. Okay. Well, he did a hell of a job in the cleanup. Oh. Okay. Or that pipeline that broke in down in the Gulf. You know, you're like, wait a minute, you know? Did the oil rig blow up? Who'd you put out there? Well, we put this one guy, how we hired him. Oh, okay. Last year is done. I agree with you, Yale. I think they've done a nice job getting away from that. Okay? Yeah, I do. 2 more likes, guys. Appreciate you guys, man. 300. What an incredible job here. Really, got to tell you. You don't get credit for burning your house down and then building it back up. Pete, I know, but in Philly you do. That's how you compromise it. Well, he lit the place on fire. And he gets credit for cleaning it up and building it back up. You know what, though? To be fair, a lot of people do that. You know, when you have the quarterback in the building, you can make some mistakes. Like, get this. When you're in Kansas City, you can make a couple of mistakes because Mahomes is in the building. When you're in New York with the Giants, you can't sign Waller and not be devastating or let Barkley go. Okay? Seals, are you scared of Trayvon Diggs? No. No, they're good players, though. No one should get injuries. Very sad to see a young, up-and-coming player get injured. Philly, Matt, part of the game, though. And of course, nobody's hoping for that, for sure. Are you concerned about special teams play this year? Actually, I'm concerned about the rules in special teams. Those kickoff rules, I don't know if anybody knows really, and if they're really understanding what they are. Okay? I mean, they're constantly maneuvering it around and changing it up a bit. They're manipulating it. So I don't know what to expect. I think special teams is going to be a factor where you're going to see a team lose a ball game, and it's going to be on some hokey-ass play. And you're going to see people bitching like you've never seen before. If that costs somebody a position round in a playoff game, you're going to see people go through the roof because then they'll think the league is rigged. Sil says AJ's better than Hill. No, I said that AJ, in my opinion, I'd want on my team more than Tyreek Hill. How many Super Bowls does AJ have? Thank you and good night. Hey, Boney, isn't it funny? The quarterback in Kansas City said, get the fuck out of KC. I don't need you. So basically, hey, Tyreek, you're welcome. You're welcome. You'll never win a Super Bowl in Miami with Skittles, Tagovailoa. Hey, Boney, Skittles, Tagovailoa will never win a Super Bowl in Miami. Guys, a hit away from being a bowl of Skittles. Skittles, Tagovailoa. Seals, do you see how? Hey, shut up, Prince. I've been doing this longer than you've been alive. Don't talk to me like that. Crazy ass. All right. Do me a favor, guys. Please hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Win and save this baseball season from Colony Pools and Power Washing, a local company serving Delaware, Delco, and Chester County since 1970. Are you tired of looking at your green house? Is your roof, siding, deck stained green from algae and mold? Let the experts pressure wash your home and take the pressure off of you. Win with Colony Pools and Power Washing. Call them now at 302-762-2250. That's 302-762-2250.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
This Jeremy Fowler won't let this go. He won't let this go. He was again on a show today. By the way, please hit the like button. Thank you guys so much. Over 300 likes, man. You guys really, really wonderful today. And first day of pads. That's going to be a precursor, I think, to the upcoming season. And we so thank you. See what happens when Prince battles over whose loss was better, the 49ers or the Eagles to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl? See how many likes you get? See what happens when you battle over who had a better L? Always remember that, Prince. Okay? Jeremy Fowler still thinks that Bill Belichick is the front runner to get the job in Philly if Sirianni falls on his face. Okay? Prince, you believe that? Do you believe that, Prince? That Belichick? I find that hard to believe. That Bill would be the front runner to be the head coach in Philly at 70 years old. And then how would that work with Vic? You'd be blowing the whole thing up. Sills, Judon or Joey Bosa? I'll take Judon because he's healthier more. You can see it. Well, hey, by the way, that guy, the owner, he loves everything Boston, doesn't he? Okay, Bill wouldn't last in this city. Hey, dude, he was in Boston. He'd last in this city. That's a pretty effed up place up there in Boston, too. Dude, you last if you win. When you don't win, that's when they get on your shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, someone teach Sills to say chat. How about this, Jay Brown? Someone teach you to understand who Big Sills is. All right, guys, fantastic stuff. We so appreciate it. Thank you again. Have to thank Joe and Xander. 2 to 6 tomorrow. Guys are spectacular, man. Stay tuned now, by the way, for a special edition of Birds 365. John McMullen was out there all day for the first day of pads. Great content coming. Xander and John, we appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you on the flip side.